Transition, the process of change from one condition to another.
We are now at a new crossroad where change is evident once again.
What does not serve us must transform us anew.
Returning to our original state of oneness and true nature of that which created who we truly are.
Confusion was the way of the past. Enlightenment is the way of the now and future, shedding away the layers of deceit.
We now bring you the transformation of the two who started as one. Our fearless planet never stands still.
Earth has been in a process of transition, and we are not exempt from this remarkable, ongoing reality.
And hello and welcome to Real Talk with the Cummings. My name's Mark Angelo.
And I'm Lena Ariel. And our regular scheduled program is going to continue, but we are not going to be able to have Wayne.
I'm trying to get Wayne to call in. Just, we want to reschedule, maybe using Zoom, but we don't have Zoom. And he said he's having problems with Google Hangout. It's not working on his computer.
But that's okay. We'll just keep going.
Yeah, but I'm going to see if he could at least call in and say a little something, and then we will reschedule it. So Wayne, if you're watching, can you call in at the number that Lena gave you, which is area code 575-519-5930?
Yep.
And if that could be possible, this has never happened before. We've had lots and lots of guests, but he did say he wasn't used to using Google
Hi
Hangout.
everyone, we're all here. Fifth World, Rex Clark, Beloved, Jake, Girl with No Name, Carolyn, Dottie, Darth. So many wonderful people here right now.
I'm trying to get to see if Wayne could at least call in, because he was having difficulty using his Google Hangout.
Wendy's with us, Zoo Pet. So I understand, but the show needs to go on.
No, I know, babe, but we're trying to get something that's happening in the middle. Maybe we could get Wayne to call in.
If he calls, then we'll stop our regular program.
Yeah, well, I didn't really set up a heck of a lot of stuff, so because we had him. But, okay, so basically, since he's not going to be calling in, and it's like, gosh, this has never ever happened before. Well, let's say hello to everybody.
You did already.
You did already,
I did. I said hi to everybody.
So
and Ron. Ron's joining us.
Yep. We were having a little bit of technical difficulty with Wayne, and I'm trying to see if if he could actually call in. But it seems like he wants to.
What are you guys doing? It's Friday night.
Yeah.
We're planning on going somewhere tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're going to enjoy our one meal this time.
Okay. So I have stuff set up here. I know, baby, but it's like I didn't want to go into like what we're going to be doing. It's always that. One of the things that I want to really focus on Real Talk with the Cummings is trying to create self-help for individuals that are having a lot of doubts with themselves, a lot of hurt, whether it's based through childhood trauma, whether it's based through religious dogma, whatever it is that is based under. It's important for us as individuals to break free from a lot of those programming and grow and evolve as individuals. Is that sad? No, I thought that was sad. So one of the articles that I found for today, and I'm sure that a lot of you actually deal with this or have dealt with this or know someone that's dealt with this throughout their life. It's self-hatred. I mean, that's something that a lot of trans people deal with, or you don't even have to be trans. I mean, a lot of people deal with self-hatred. And I think it's important, if we're going to evolve as spiritual beings, for us to be able to nip it in the bud, to find out why it is that we have this feeling towards ourselves, and try to evaluate things from the beginning of life to where we are now. So there are countless numbers of people who are extremely unhappy with themselves. The reason for their dissatisfaction vary greatly, but the overall impact is that they feel depressed.
Theodore Isaac Rubin, MD and psychoanalyst, addressed this self-dissatisfaction in a book entitled Compassion and Self-Hate. If you don't know who Dr. Rubin was, he wrote the classic story Lisa and David. This was made into a Hollywood movie during the 1960s called David and Lisa. It remains a movie worth renting and watching.
So what Dr. Rubin points out in his book, Dr. Rubin borrows from a great psychoanalyst of the mid-20th century, Karen Horney. Horney asserts that we have three selves. I'm sure they got made fun of. So
number one, I'm sorry.
I was going to go ahead and tell people what Wayne's latest thing. He said the cell service where it's at is not very good. It doesn't have good reception, so we'll have to reschedule. And he said his system completely shut down while attempting to get audio and stronger video, and he finds that to be just odd. That's never happened, and we've had so many different guests in the past. I don't know what.
And he has a regular show. He does Jeff every Sunday.
Yeah, but they use Zoom. He doesn't use Hangout. So.
But if his system shut down,
that's something.
That's more than just not liking Google.
Yeah, that's something that's going on. Gremlins, as usual. Anyway, the actual selves, number one, who we are with our physical and emotional abilities and disabilities of limitations.
Number two, real self, who we could be if we freed ourselves from our self-dislike and unrealistic fears. Number three, despised self, self-effacing and very neurotic.
Number four, idolized self, the illusion of glorious goals that are impossible to achieve but that we believe we should achieve.
Dr. Rubin reduces this formula down to two selves, the actual self and the real self. Actual self, who we are with all of our talents, limitations, and illnesses, both physical and psychological.
Let's see what we got here. We got some, because we're going to have to really rely a lot on the chat today. And somebody had just said something that it was apparent, right? Was it Wendy?
I don't know, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Do you want me to go through comments like I usually do? Or?
Please do.
Please do. I can't really get them any bigger because I can't zoom in.
Oh, that's weird. Oh, we got a lot of gremlins today. So Wendy said, why do others not understand that everyone is here and who they are for a great reason? Embrace the world for all of us are awesome. I'm glad we're all not made in the cookie cutter. And that's so true, but you know, it's like what happens is we're taught from the moment that we're little to all be cookie cutters or to want to be something better than what we are. You know, and that, I think that's pretty much ingrained from the time we're little. You know, if everything doesn't go as status quo, people freak out, people get upset, and it's like, you know, things happen in the world. Like right now, we had a guest scheduled, and the gremlins took over, and his system shut down, and unfortunately, I wanted to go to Plan B for him to call in. You know, his cell service isn't great. So, and then we originally started off with like really bad internet. It was like 2.1 or something like that. So, I don't know. Sometimes you got to wonder. Real self, the illusion we believe in about who we should be in terms of being wealthy, powerful, lovable, and independent. How many of us come up with these, what we think we should be? You know, that's an illusion. It's not even a reality. It's like, oh, we should be wealthy, or we should be powerful, or lovable, independent. And sometimes that's programmed from the time we're little. Our parents do that.
Yeah.
You know, they make you feel like, okay, you need to be this amazing, individual, and
Lots
you need
of
an expectation. And then if you can't meet up with this expectation, you get depressed, you get angst, you just feel frustrated, and then you just want to give up. And that's usually the majority of people. They just want to give up when their so-called plan doesn't fall through.
Yeah, well, to the extent that we hold on to illusions about our real self is the extent to which we reject our actual self and we feel self-hate. For example, An individual may cherish the belief that they should be happy. After all, the pursuit of happiness is guaranteed in the U.S. Constitution. But what is happiness? As Dr. Rubin states, for me, happiness is feeling good, nothing more. That is, feeling fairly comfortable and relatively tension-free.
So then goes on to say that happiness can be sustained only for a limited time. Life is not perfect and moods change. However, the illusion that one should be happy all the time creates self-hate. Because it's like, oh, I should be happy and I should be able to accomplish this and should be able to accomplish that. So in other words, if someone clings to the illusion that they would be happy all of the time and they're not, they will condemn themselves for not achieving these goals. The problem is that that goal, feeling happy all the time, is not achievable. And isn't that exactly what TV programming, everything, every type of programming that you have been given from the time you are born, is that you need to be perfect. And then in that perfection, it's just like, I've got to look perfect, everything's got to be perfect. And then if you don't achieve that, then all hell breaks loose because your brain just starts to self-destruct, you start to shame yourself, you start to hate yourself. And what does that help? It doesn't help anyone,
Perhaps the fact that people hold on to unrealistic illusions about themselves explains the reason for the epidemic of addiction. Substances often offer a temporary that causes a person to feel joyful and omnipotent. When the drug wears out and reality sets in, the self-hate reasserts itself.
And that's with everything. It could be alcohol, food, getting all dressed up and making yourself think that you're feeling better if you're a trans person. It could be with anything. You get this temporary feel of joy. Getting the surgery that you wanted because you were like setting sights on whatever it was that you wanted to do. And then, boom, you get there, now what? Now you need another drug, another thing, another event, another project to make you feel happy. So that kind of leads you to understand that happiness does not come from what you obtain outside of you. Happiness comes from within. Happiness is being grateful no matter what state you're in, how you feel, how you don't feel. It's accepting things, and that's what's most important, because the other is just temporary.
Perhaps the fact that people hold on to, I already read that.
Okay, so to continue the analogy of the drug abuser, the sense of self-hate and wish for joy that propels the addiction also serves as a powerful source of self-punishment. Drug addiction carries with it lots of physical and emotional abuse, and for all of you out there that have had some sort of addiction, being drug, being food, being sex, being porn, being, the addiction of changing self, whatever it is, it carries a lot of physical and emotional abuse because you're trying to push yourself to do something or be something that you're not. Let's read some more.
Okay. We're just... Where do you want to go?
I don't know, wherever. You're the one that usually...
Well, I usually start from the top.
Okay, start from the top.
Fifth World says, I've been having a lot of weird stuff come up, and I just keep having to mentally process it. I'm going to share with you something cool. I just got a message I got. Hang on. And then she says, the message that I literally got, this in Gematria, was, I forgave you yesterday for tomorrow.
That's a beautiful saying. I forgive you yesterday for tomorrow. You're already forgiving somebody or even yourself for what you're going to do to somebody or yourself in the future. That pretty much cleans you out completely because you're not having to worry about the mistakes that you're going to be making. And that's important, to free yourself from whatever bonds, whatever chains, whatever slavehood we put ourselves into because of our thought process, because of what we think things should be.
Phil says, I had a really bad day. My phone died, and I had to buy a new one.
Wow.
The feeling of having all connection to the world outside my house, being dependent on a tiny, mass-manufactured coil, was a wake-up call.
And that's an important wake-up call. It's like, for instance, tonight, okay? We had a guest. We were very excited about having the guest, and it couldn't happen. We could either have gotten all riled up and whatever, or it's okay, the show must go on. I always like to have plan B, but plan B didn't work. So sometimes plan A and plan B doesn't work, then you have to go to plan C. It's definitely a wake-up call, Phil, because people are so reliant on modern technology, and there will come a time where that modern technology is going to fail us all. All it takes is for the sun to throw one of the sun rays and fry the grid. All it takes is, and I mean, we're living in such unstable times that it's not even a thought process. It can happen, and as a matter of fact, I think it will happen. So we've got to learn to step out of our comfort zone, to step away from our technological gadgets, and realize that there will come a time where the only connection is going to be the true human connection that we've had since the beginning of time.
Yeah, but then we won't be able to interact with these guys.
Well, then we'll have to go out in the real world and interact real.
That's great, but let's
but
take
that's
it while we have it.
Exactly.
Anyway, Fifth World, I really believe that we are fully going through the process of judging ourselves. Judgment Day has been for the past several months, LOL. Keep purging the fear programming. That's what I keep telling myself.
And that's definitely important. And not only purging the fear, but also accepting the unknown and accepting without having to like fluff it off, and say, well, that ain't gonna happen. Or like we showed you yesterday, the head in the ground, people putting their head in the ground. That's what the archons want you to do. Archons want you to panic. They want you to create the like la 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 reality, la 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 la. No, we need to understand what's taking place.
The beauty about this show is that it is exactly in my element, because I love unpredictability. I love spontaneity. I love it when we have to think on our feet. Mm-hmm. And I love it, like, when I used to do live television.
Right.
There's just something about being on live television where you don't have the rehearsal, you don't practice your lines, right. You're just on. And we have lots to share, you guys. We just, needed to adjust and, just kind of like step back, because I had to deal with the disappointment of not having Wayne on, because it was a very important thing for me to be able to have him on. He had some really great things to share, and I really would have wanted to have him on, but we can't have him on today. So this is our now. Yeah. This is what we have, and I know that we don't have a lot of other things going on.
I'll find something.
I have a bunch of stuff myself. So there's tons of stuff that we can share, because we have so much, you guys.
And plus, we want to guys, we love to interact.
Yeah, I love that statement that she made.
Yeah.
Fifth World. I forgave you yesterday for tomorrow.
And that's
beautiful. A beautiful mantra.
I forgave you yesterday for tomorrow.
I love that.
It's really, really cool.
So, and who's the prince of the power of the air? We are subject to this Arconian craziness, that we have to be subject to wireless, we have to be subject to transmitting information, video, audio, I mean, when we first came on the air with Wayne, he couldn't hear us.
Yeah. It wasn't even on the air when
when we came on the air with him. Not live.
Not live,
but just with him, he couldn't hear us, and we were like, "Oh man, okay, we do a show every day, so you guys can usually hear us." So, maybe it's on his end. He doesn't use Google that much, but
he found out what it was. But then he was hearing this massive echo.
Because he doesn't really have a way to do the show without his headphones.
Yeah, so there was something going on.
But
it is what it is.
Another time we'll be able to have him, or maybe he'll have us on or something. But, it is what it is.
So April says, hi, sweetie, Mark, Wayne, and all my relations sent you. Not Wayne, because we had technical difficulty, and unfortunately we weren't able to have him on. The enemy does run the world, and obviously there was going to be something very important that was going to be discussed tonight that they didn't want us to discuss.
But we're going to discuss important things
anyway,
regardless.
Regardless.
Phil says, LOL sounds similar to what I've experienced today regarding my technological headaches. It bothers me how tied to our emotions our so-called connection really is.
Right.
You know,
And that's like another very interesting thing, connection. We have all sorts of connection with technology, but do we have connection with ourselves, with our higher self, and with each other? I mean, you could be in a room full of people, and instead of them conversing with one another, they're stuck to their phone. They wake up, go to sleep with that gadget in their hand, not knowing all the neurological impairment that this gadget is actually creating, how much it's actually disconnecting you as a human being, as a spirit. So sometimes these things that happen for a reason. It's almost like a wake-up call for all of us.
Jake Letzler joins us.
Hey, Jake.
He says, secret societies cannot change their secrets. Therefore, they have to change everyone else's perceptions of those things. And it can really mess us up.
Definitely.
And Phil says, I've decided that books and nature and other people will be my new primary connection.
That's an awesome thing, to realize, because, when the grid goes down, that's all you're going to have are your books, nature, and other people. And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to have problems with that, because a lot of people, I mean, you go outside, and how many people literally make eye contact with you? How many people actually go, hey, how are you? Beautiful day today. And talk to people, hug people. I try to make it a point every time I go out that door. If I go to the gym and I see somebody, I give them eye contact. I talk to them. I hug them. I say, how are you doing? How are you feeling? You don't see that very much these day and age. People are just barely it's like they don't even want to give you eye contact.
Right.
We need to break down these walls. We need to break down this feeling of victimhood, fear, guilt, and all this crazy thing that goes along with what and how we've been raised.
Fifth World says, I'm feeling extremely bored with the end of the world. I'm ready for more of the beginning. I think that's really interesting because so many people think about this whole end times and last days and all this fear and fear-mongering and all this concern and stuff. And if we would just look at it as being like
a new beginning,
a step closer to the new earth, a new existence as spirit beings, then we would welcome these changes, whatever they are.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever's happening in the heavens, whatever's happening on the ground, it doesn't matter because we are eternal beings, and no matter what, energy, us, cannot be wiped out.
No.
So whatever happens, we're still going to be around. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and it doesn't help looking into the gloom and doom, because that only feeds the archons more. What we need to look at is the excitement of the new beginning, of the end of this old world that hasn't worked, and the beginning of the new world, great adventures, a new chapter in our lives. And I think I'm ready. I've been more than ready for all of it.
Wendy says, but in the life we live, makes us look at the world through our eyes, not others. Amazing is uplifting because even if it is in one thing that shines, it is one that shines.
Definitely. And Becky joins us. Fifth took the words right out of my mouth, says.
And April says, happiness has been a side effect, never a goal or outcome I ever sought, except very briefly, like when I was 17 or so.
And that's, there's a time when you're a kid and you're a teenager and you're always looking for a payoff in anything that you do. You don't just do something just to do it. There's always so what's in it for me? What am I going to get out of it? Instead of just enjoying the journey and realizing that is the journey, the path, the walk that gives you the fulfillment. It's not the outcome. Because 9 times out of 10, that outcome, when you get there, you're going to be disappointed. You're going to go, oh, that was it? All this for this? So I always say enjoy the journey, smell the flowers, understand the moment. The moment, the now is what's important. The outcome, it doesn't matter whether you win or you lose.
That's what the archon, that's what the God of this world wants you to be concerned about. It's we just had this big, Super Bowl, somebody won, somebody lost, and it was like this big deal, but it wasn't a big deal because at the end of the day, when the players played the game, it wasn't that, it wasn't that they were looking to win or lose.
Yeah.
It was that they enjoy the game.
Exactly.
They enjoy playing. I mean, a retired football player is longing to play again. It's not about winning and losing.
No, that's
It's about the excitement, the journey, getting there. So Fifth World says, doing great. We got your back. We like your regular shows as much or more than guest shows.
Appreciate that. But I mean, Lena was the one hadn't contacted him, and he responded. So she was all excited, and I was too. I mean, I love to interview people, but things happen. Hey, Derek, thank you for joining us. We love you too.
Yes.
It would have been a great interview. We've been watching Wayne for a while and think he has a lot of great things to say, and we wanted to share that with you. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm mostly embarrassed because this has never happened before. We've had shows with a lot of different people, and it's never really.
I know, babe, but
yeah. Well, I'm just
the
reading.
good thing is that our stuff works.
Yes,
we do a show all the time, so it was his problem on his end because he is not used to doing Google Hangouts. So.
And we don't have Zoom. So.
Yeah, we don't have Zoom when we don't want to pay for it.
No.
Right? So, Ann Foster says, Wayne not on tonight. Love being here regardless. Thank you, Ann. Yeah, it was just a technical glitch. We couldn't get him on, and there's a bad, I guess. So
yeah, I tried to get him to call in, but he said he has very bad cell service, and so we're gonna have to reschedule.
Electric tragedy. Wow, that's a new person.
Yeah, welcome.
I think you should just speak from your hearts like you usually do, and you'll be fine.
Thank you.
Life is learning.
Totally. That's what we're here.
Yes,
this is a university. This is a university. I mean, this is from the day we are born to the day we die. There are lessons. And some people don't like lessons. They'll go kicking and screaming. They don't want to have a lesson. But if you're not learning something every second, then you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, because it's all about growth. Stagnation and just for entertainment is not the reason we're here.
Jake Letzler says, humans have a hive mind. It's why we follow the majority. We are connected the same way celestial objects are all connected by string theory in this electric universe. This is how we are all one. And one of the things that Wayne was talking about a couple days ago was on his show. He was talking about the spider and how the spider is like symbolic of, a creator that connects everything, makes beautiful webs and stuff. And what do we have here? We have the World Wide Web. Yeah. If you look out in space and the galaxy, it looks like a web of connected networks of planets and stars and suns, and all that stuff. So definitely. It's really interesting, how that all works. Phil says, Mark, exactly. I can't imagine the dire straits we will be in when our technology fails us. We have to be prepared for life outside of it.
Totally. And that's, one of the reasons that we love to do our show, RealTalk, and we like to hit topics and provide information to help people for the times to come. Whether it's learning how to eat right, learning how to only eat one meal a day, because when food supplies get low, you're going to have to learn how to get your energy from your own fat supply. And a lot of us, need to learn how to go from diesel to gas or vice versa, learning how to use what we have stored within and learning how to look at life differently. Right now we get disappointed like this because from the time we're little, we're taught, that you get a reward for everything that you do, and you develop this mind that is not going to help anybody in the future to come. I mean, you look at countries like Venezuela, like my country, Cuba, your country, Puerto Rico, and all the countries, third world countries. There at one point in their time, they were like the United States of America. Argentina was prosperous. When I went to Argentina, I think it was back in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. Third world country, very poor country, but they were happy. Why? Because people didn't follow this clock thing. They would take a 3-hour lunch break in the afternoon. They
Yeah.
would sleep. You know, they learned how to communicate with one another. People were outside playing dominoes and talking to each other.
Yeah, I mean, I was just watching a video of like 3 Cuban women dancing at Christmas time, and they're so unfettered, free, you know, unrestricted, and you know, people want to talk about all these countries that are supposedly suffering and stuff, but their people are so resilient and they're so happy. I mean, still in Cuba these days, you go to any town square, and you're going to see them dancing together.
Yeah, that's one thing about my people.
I dare you to go down the street here in the United States, find somewhere where people are gathered together and they're at least even smiling and laughing.
That's one thing about my
You know.
people. You know, when Castro took over and they lost everything. You know, people barely have any food to eat. I know because my father's sister and a bunch of his family is still in Cuba, and my dad has to send them money every month or every week. And they barely, even with money, whatever little money, there's not always stuff to buy to eat. But they're happy. They're dancing. They're singing. They're joyful. They make things out of nothing. I mean, the cars over there are still in the 1950s. They're still fixing these cars. When you have a hard time, you learn how to do without. You learn how to improvise. And that's what we need in this country.
And that's
Because
the greater lesson.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, if people can make, you know, a radio out of a coconut, you know, that's beautiful. That they can actually, you know, squeeze, you know, that wonderful sweetness out of life, you know,
They
out
take
of any circumstance.
big lighters that are the kind you throw away, and
Yeah.
they refurbish it. You know, the ones you throw, and then just add whatever it is that what is that called?
Butane.
Butane, and they make it work. They make everything work. They've learned how to be self-reliant. You know.
So Monica 57 says, think about it. No phone, no internet, no electricity. Folks will lose their minds because we are actually addicted by design. And you know, one of the things is that, you know, someone was saying, let's just hope that it doesn't happen in the wintertime.
Oh yeah.
Because people will suffer, you know.
Yeah,
Because
and
it's too cold in some places.
do you think that we have evolved to where we are today by being wusses? Do you think that if our ancestors didn't have to deal with bad weather, with situations that many other people this day and age wouldn't even be able to deal with, if we don't learn now, okay, how to like do without, how to like minimize, how to like, it's almost like dress rehearsals for things to come, we're going to be in for a massive rude awakening. And it's not being doom and gloom. It's like, you know, we're a planet dangling out in the middle of nowhere. Things are coming at us. Anything could happen.
Yeah.
We need to start thinking that way to prepare ourselves. I mean, it's definitely...
She said, it says, love the glasses. All right,
Yeah.
cool. We both got
Okay, glasses, yeah.
Purifier is here now. That's what's going on all around the world.
Totally, and that's awesome. I mean, I welcome it. I've always, you know, I don't want to say always. Well, I was born that way, then I got sucked into the matrix and, you know, went into the whole thing, getting the degree and getting all the stuff, because that's how my mom raised me to think about getting stuff. And then I went to my awakening and it's like, I don't need stuff. Stuff weighs me down. That energy, that the material thing does a horrible thing inside your soul. Once you learn how to push all that stuff away, when you stop taking yourself so serious, that is when you really start to experience joy, light, and peace within.
Phil says, Lena, LOL, Lena, you are right too. I'm so happy to be able to hear your sweet voice in spite of my wake-up call. That's cool. Oh yeah, Darth even said, just as long as the power out is not in winter.
Well then, if it is, I mean, what do we have to do? We have to like go chop some wood and somehow learn to make something with inside the house to start fires inside the house. Open up all the windows. I mean, we have to find ways to keep ourselves warm. And trust me, necessity, what's that saying? Necessity is the, oh, there's a saying, God help me out here. Necessity is the
The mother of invention.
Yeah, exactly.
Free energy coming, Fifth World says.
Definitely.
And Beloved 777 says, I've loads of books to read and hundreds of candles.
There you go. There you go.
April says, okay, you guys are on again next Saturday at 3.
Are we?
On your radio show?
Is that? I guess.
Okay.
All right. I guess we're on.
Lindsay says, my dad, who's also an Aquarius, was a radio DJ, and how he met my mother.
Wow. That's awesome.
Love hanging with you all.
And we love having you, Sue. We love having you.
I am 57, Monica 57. Start reconnecting to the earth. Get out in nature as much as you can. Start looking up instead of down into that black screen.
Totally. There's something so amazing about the sky, especially the night sky. There's a lot of stars here where we live in Silver City, New Mexico. And to me, ever since I was a kid, there was always something so appealing looking up. And I feel this connection, you know, this beautiful feeling, like when we go camping out or when we did our journey.
Yeah.
And we sat out, you know, in our little camp chairs and just looked up and watched the change from day to night. And then in the morning when the sun was coming up, there's just this beautiful feeling that you feel when you're connected to Mother Earth.
Jim and KJ, Jim.
Hey, Jim.
You too. And Ann says, you have so much you share every time. I'm so appreciative, Mark, Lena, and all the interesting topics.
Appreciate you being here with us and sharing the information that we love to share with you guys. And then we love the interaction. Totally.
And Zupet says, I'm guilty of falling asleep with the phone in the hand. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
April says, I'm going to love it. Looking forward to it. Trying to make as many real friends now before it all falls down.
And that's one of the things that, you know, when we get our travel van or RV, whatever the universe presents to us, I am looking so forward to getting to meet every single one of you.
Oh,
whether it's one-on-one, whether we do it in a park, whatever it is, making that real human connection.
I know. It's like, it would be so awesome. You know, Sandra says, I wish I could meet people like you guys in person. I'm so starved for real human interaction.
And it's awesome. It's like creating like bonfires, you know, and just hanging out and breaking bread together and sharing stories just like it used to be in the old days, like the tribal people used to do. They hang around the fire and they will tell stories. They didn't have internet. They would just entertain each other with music and song and talking and expressing love and really showing what we have inside.
Yeah.
We've learned to put this armor on top of us. We need to shed that armor off. And we need to be real and loving. Like I said, I look forward when we go to the gym and just make that eye contact, that hugging. And I never used to be that way. I grew up very autistic, very Asperger-y, and very distant because I didn't trust the world because of all the things that happened to me growing up. And I, little by little, have learned to shed away all that fear, all that self-hatred, all that not trusting. And now I am so ready to love and give to every single one of them. I look forward to it. You know, it makes me happy.
Phil says, Mark and Lynn are so awesome. Adore them.
We adore you too, Phil.
Thanks, Phil. April says, you like spontaneity, and so do I. Love being on the edge of my seat, Luna. Yeah, there's just something exciting about not knowing what's around the corner, you know?
Definitely. But I think even those of us that love the adventure, we still have like, because there was a little friction. It's like, oh no, what do we do now? But then it was like, okay, kick in. Get into another gear.
Okay, we just
and that's what teaches us. Situations like this where like you have everything planned because we're taught that everything has to be timed. There's a calendar, there's a clock. So when there's a monkey wrench thrown in there, it's a beautiful thing because then it makes us go into a different mode altogether.
It's funny, we have 19 haters.
Oh, those are the same ones from yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing how, you know, it's really amazing how love can cause so much hate because, you know, all of you people who have marked a dislike or if you're on or not, whether you're hearing me or not, you know, you guys don't really, you don't accomplish anything by doing that because, you know, I love you regardless. If you were to hit like or hate, it doesn't matter because I love you because I just love. So
those are the people that we kicked out in the past couple of days that were trying to pull the wool over our eyes, they thought
Trying
they
to
were,
distract
yeah,
the show.
trying to distract. So now they can't distract it. Now they're hitting the thumbs
like
down.
it when people distract us
No,
from our show.
no.
So Jake says, Sandra, tonight's guest is talking about doing a get-together soon, a humanities summit or something like that. I remember hearing him say that he was going to put something together.
Yeah, and that's important because this is great, but actually meeting people in person, that's like the most amazing thing.
Loopy LaRue, Wayne would have been on today, but
his hangout, he had a little difficulty with his system. He said it just kind of kaput. We had him on before we went on air. He couldn't hear us. We could hear him. Then we couldn't hear him. Then he went in and on and off. And then it was just like his system just completely. He's never used Google Hangout before, and we don't have Zoom.
So Phil says, any other chatters noticed the dislike ratio went up from 18 to 18 from 0 in less than a minute? What's going on?
Yeah, there must be. Yeah.
You know?
It's
someone's got some software that allows them to do that.
Exactly.
Phil says, this is probably my favorite show on YouTube.
Oh, thank you, Phil. That's awesome.
High praises. And April says, let me see. Loopy LaRue, gave you a like. You don't deserve 16 dislikes, so like everybody.
Yeah.
I just forgive, love, and enjoy. Dottie K says.
That's it. Bad reception, no way around that. You just have to wait. You gotta have to wait.
Humanity from hive mind to 3 groups split. The creator of all, /Adam, /science, /God, /plasma, /religion, Mother Earth, /neutral, /human spirit, being godly, /assassinated. A little coded something going on in there. How come people are saying dislike? Still on zeros. Spiders are for real, a mystical creature. Yeah, that was a really great show that Wayne did talking about the spider.
I used to have a roommate that loved spiders, and he forewarned me, do not mess with the webs or the spider, try to kill them. And I'm like, the thing starts climbing on my bed, it ain't gonna be living. You know, I don't like to kill anything, but I don't like spiders. I really don't. I mean, and when they bite you and they're like the recluse or whatever, you could like really be hurting for quite a while.
Yeah. Can't stop thinking about the rainbow web that I see around the sun every day, and also can't stop thinking about Charlotte's Web. One of my favorite movies.
Wow.
That was a cute movie. I have absolutely no fat cells whatsoever, Jake says.
None whatsoever. I mean, usually people fall in the range of like 3%. I mean, you have to have some fat cells because you would be very sick if you didn't.
Cuba in a bad state? Loopy LaRue's asking.
Yeah, Cuba is.
Well, due to the American embargo.
Yeah, I mean, Cuba has been in a bad state since Castro took over, and I'm sure he had good intentions, but when they didn't allow things to be exported or imported to Cuba, then they have to like make do with whatever little they have, and they don't give it to the people. I'm sure the ones up in higher power live a fine life, but the people that actually live there don't. I know because my father has sisters and cousins and all sorts of family members that still live there.
Nomad Apocalypse said, Mark, do you think it'll ever be a better government in Cuba?
I don't think so, and it's really shameful because Cuba used to be a paradise. Everybody used to love to go there. It was like the Vegas, tropical Vegas.
I don't know if that's necessarily the best that Cuba was ever, because that was when a lot of like mafia and big, corporate
but
interests.
people lived and they had a good life. I mean, because I don't remember because I came when I was 4 years old. But there's people that I've known that lived there when the times were good and they enjoyed it. They danced. It's like that movie Dirty Dancing.
But I'm thinking like the days of the more the indigenous.
Oh
type,
God, yeah, no, I understand.
It's like more natural beauty.
Right. But and I'm not at all for this massive capitalist where you have the extreme rich getting richer and the poor getting poor, and that's what we're seeing. Middle class is getting squeezed out altogether.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of people like that had a lot of money and lived in Cuba that had to flee Cuba when Castro came in.
Yeah.
And, everything was taken away from people. And, I have no problem with that. I think that we all should have the right, there shouldn't be like this extreme rich and extreme poor.
But then you hear the stories of the Guajiros, you know,
Yeah.
they
They had a great time.
the people that live out in the country, the farmers, how Castro actually took care of them, right?
Right.
Because they're grateful for the revolution
Oh, yeah.
in certain ways because
Definitely.
they were able to make a living or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
So April says, that is why I intentionally smile whenever I find the moment with someone.
Yes.
And they always smile back.
And when you make eye contact with somebody, sometimes you don't even have to smile. They just kind of like, what you call it, just your eyes smile for you. And Nomad said, Mark, do you think...
No, we already read that.
Oh.
Right? I just read that.
Oh, better government. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Beloved says...
One smile can lead to 1,000 smiles. That's why I tell you, my grandkids, true. And you can even smile with your eyes. You don't even have to, it's like, you give somebody eye contact and give them reassurance, and it's like, my spirit honors your spirit, it's very important.
AK's in the chat room. AK.
Hey, AK.
Jake says, not taking away from our ancestors, but today's weather is anything but normal right now.
Totally. Everything's been flipped upside down. I don't know if it's the pole shifting, if it's all these chemtrails, if it's chemicals that they're using, if it's Planet X coming near us. Something's going on.
Skies are gray here today, says our friend in Australia.
And April said that Father's trying to teach her some sort of patience. I think we all are going to be tested for patience. I think that's going to be one of the massive teachings that's going to come our way.
So Danny Flo joins us. Happy Friday. Greetings all.
Hey, Danny. Thank you for joining us.
Love night. Love night. Love night. I hate it when it goes boop. Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Gracious. Love night in the summer. Miss my farmhouse in the country.
Yeah. So, looking at the dynamic of self-hate in another way, Dr. Rubin talks about illusions. We have about money. There is a commonly held illusion that money can solve all problems. Don't most people think that way, I tell you, I had a business where all my clients were well-to-do, and they had the biggest problems from anybody that I knew. You would think, they have all this money. The more money you have, the more problems you have. Many patients have told me that. If they had enough money, they would feel free of their problems and suffering. However, real life tells us a different story.
Lots of people love to play the lottery in hopes of becoming millionaires. It's your dad.
My dad's always, if I win the lottery, I'm going to buy you an RV and then you can come back to Florida. And I'm like, yeah, Dad, okay.
We read about poor working people winning the lottery, going home fabulously wealthy. Oh, how many wish for the same fate. Well, you know the old saying, be careful of what you wish for. It may come true. The fact is that the lives of many people who won the lottery ended in tragedy. Some of them spent every dollar they won and became bankrupt. Others committed suicide, became addicted to drugs, or suffered some abysmal fate. Money did not solve their problems, yet we convince ourselves that it will solve our problems and beat ourselves for not earning or winning a fortune. And that's one of the things that, winning the lottery and stuff, someone who is not grounded in their person,
It will destroy them.
Is the worst thing that could happen to them.
Well, we have this mentality, the human race. We always think the grass is greener on the other side. Or we always think that the past was always better than the present. We can never be grateful and content with what we have now. We're always either living in the past or looking to the future or looking to get somewhere. And while we're doing all this, life is passing us by and we are missing the mark on why we are here. We're here to be grateful. We're here to learn how to love ourselves unconditionally and love each other unconditionally and grow community and grow together as spirit being, as the one consciousness that we are. Everything else, money, everything that creates this illusion is all false, and it will never, ever bring you true happiness.
One of my greatest concerns for people that do win the lottery is, who do you know who your friends really are at that point? Because you just won $1 million. Everyone wants to be your best friend, but you don't know who's being genuine and who's just wanting to use you.
Yeah.
And there's so many instances where people are like, hey, remember me?
Yeah.
I'm your friend from long, and I've been with you, and it's like genuineness is lost.
And then the sad thing is that usually people with a lot of money are very lonely, and they will buy friendship with their money.
Yeah.
So
pretty
you've
much.
got codependent, dependent. And it's like, and what's the root of all that evil? Is that money?
Yeah.
That comes, between people.
Phil says, oh my God, I would love a Mark and Lena meet and greet.
That's going to happen soon. The universe willing,
that.
getting either an RV or a travel van donated, or we're saving up for it. So hopefully.
And we thought about like doing a live show, with people, and also like interviewing our friends and stuff like that on live, and it would be really cool. Jake says, no stars in Phoenix, Arizona anymore, aside from the false constellations, for 3 years now. Wow. Did you guys have an ayahuasca journey? I'd love to hear about that.
No, we want to. I've had mushroom journeys.
So cool. Something that we're also visualizing.
Yeah, we would love to. I've done mushrooms, but never ayahuasca.
Your show is the best therapy. I enjoy the talks.
We enjoy sharing with you guys and having you guys share with us. Like the band Rush says, the point of a journey is not to arrive. Totally.
Global says, real love brings hate. Just ask Christ.
That is very true. Very true. And it's funny because it's like you figure that the more giving, the more loving you are, the more you would get that in return. It's like on the contrary. It's usually backwards.
19, Gematria. One of the meanings is the dark feminine force.
Interesting.
How dark can the feminine be, I wonder, lately as I try to lighten the energy?
Well, it might be a false feminine energy that wants to be feminine, and it's dark. But I've been getting a ton of dislikes lately. It makes me feel sad for the people that are probably stuck. And I realize that they have a way out. Yeah, and it's really funny. Why would they do that? I mean, if you don't like the content of a video, switch the channel.
Yeah, you don't have to like kick mud in someone's face.
And usually there are people that don't have their own channel, they have this fake YouTube channel, and they're just miserable.
20 dislikes on the show.
That's
all right.
It's
okay. People, when I lit up, people came out of the woodwork to attack me for just over 7 years. Had to leave, but stood my ground that long. Even tried to kill my body with an axe.
Wow.
Love the vibes, Loopy LaRue. That's a cool name. Loopy LaRue.
Yeah.
It's like a cartoon.
Yeah. You would not be alive without fat. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You have to have some percentage of fat. I mean, the healthiest low-fat percentage that a person, I mean, I've seen bodybuilders as low as 3%, but they can't keep that for a long period of time because you will get sick. Your nerves need fat. I'd say a healthy fat percentage is between 8 to 12%,
Darth said, did you know you eat spiders without even trying?
I'm sure it's in the grains and food supply, and sometimes maybe they walk in your mouth at night when you're sleeping and you don't even know it.
Loopy LaRue says, Cuba has a high amount of rape. I heard it upsets me dearly. One of the things that I heard from a Chilean documentary person that did a whole series on Cuba in Spanish said that Havana is probably one of the most safest cities to walk around. I mean, I don't know. I know that there's lots of machismo.
Yeah, but there's a lot of military presence in Cuba. I mean, you can't even fart without one of the guys in greens to be there up your, So I'm kind of finding that hard to to process, because with that amount of military presence and that they check everything, you know, that's going on. I mean, even what you speak in your house, you have to be careful, you know. So I don't know. I don't know where that information came from. But
Yeah. I am Monica says, you both are invited to visit my tiny house homestead in the Ozarks on a 500-acre, beautifully forested land trust when you start traveling. I grow and prepare yummy, organic, clean food too, anytime.
thank you. We would love that. I mean, gosh, that's it's like,
Arkansas.
yeah, I love freshly grown, organic, clean food. I mean, that's, you know, I look forward to making our salads and putting all the different beautiful color and flavors in together. I mean, people don't know what they're missing.
Oh, I know.
It's really, it just makes you feel so
The
good.
sprouts are so
Yeah.
awesome to have, like the sunflower sprouts
And
you
the
know,
alfalfa sprouts. And I mean, you look at the alfalfa sprouts, they look like little nerve endings. When you eat that stuff, it regenerates your nerve. You look at food, food tells you what it will do for your body. If you eat a Twinkie, you're going to look like a Twinkie, all that, you know, stuff like that. So anyway, Luby says, are you Cuban, Lena? I can see a little Cuban. She's actually Puerto Rican. I'm
Yeah,
the Cuban.
That's right.
I'm the Cuban. I was
Yeah.
born there in Havana, Cuba. I left in 1969, the last airplane that went out. And the only reason we were able to get here is because my uncle got on a raft with his 1-year-old baby and his wife, and he risked his life to get here to the United States, and then he claimed my mother, me, my grandmother, my uncle, and my dad. So we were the last. Yeah, it was.
My parents were some of the hundreds of thousands of Puerto Ricans that made the flight out to New York City to escape Puerto Rico after it got basically kind of got run over by American industrialism and, you know, all the big businesses that took the land away from the native people, and Puerto Ricans had to basically kind of restart a lot of them in the United States, in a country that they didn't want to move to, because who wants to leave the tropics, you know, literally. So
let me.
but I wasn't born in Cuba, or I mean Puerto Rico. I was born in California. Both my parents are Puerto Rican.
But your genes are
Oh, yeah, of
island
course.
of Puerto Rico. So the same phenomenon occurs with marriages. Many people enter into a marriage with illusionary expectations. These expectations have to do with perfect bliss, constant sexual fulfillment, and a regular flow of nurturing and love, right? However, actual life is not this way. Yes, marriages can bring lots of satisfaction, but it also brings lots of problems and difficulties. Married couples disagree and quarrel, deal with difficult children, and have problems with work, family, and friends.
The greater the gap between expectations and reality, the greater sense of disappointment, bitterness, and failure we will experience. Dr. Rubin states that in order to be compassionate to others, we must learn to be compassionate to ourselves. The way to be self-compassionate is to learn to accept the real self with its limitations.
So that's very interesting there, because a lot of people, you know, they create this utopia in their mind. How a marriage is supposed to be, how their work is supposed to be, how they're supposed to look, how they're supposed to be. There's a famous saying in the Buddhist religion, you know, desire breeds suffering. When you live based on desires, you're always going to suffer. But if you have no expectation and there's no desires, and you're just grateful and living in the moment and just allowing things to happen as they happen, then there's bliss, because there can't be any disappointment. And this is very true regarding having compassion for yourself. You know, being gentle with yourself is very important. Accepting who we are instead of wishing to something or someone else. I mean, how many people, you know, they're envious about your next door neighbor's car or the house that they have or the job or the race or the wife. You know, how many people are envious the way they look, and they wish they looked like somebody else, or they wish they were somebody else. You know, this is the road to compassion. You know, when you accept yourself for who you are, it means ending self-hatred. Accepting who we are instead of wishing to something or someone else, this is the road to compassion. So we have to learn how to have that. It means ending your self-hatred. Part of the way to end self-hatred is to identify the illusion that you cling to. How many people cling to an illusion? Are they ever happy? Is that illusion ever really going to come true? This could be having the idea that you should be a generous and benevolent person who is generous and never gets angry. There are many other possible illusions. What's yours?
So Loopy says, do you sign any merchandise with the logo on them? If so, let me know, please.
Do we sign any merchandise?
I guess we can.
Yeah.
If we had merchandise.
Yeah, if we had merchandise. We were thinking about maybe making some, we got to look into it, some of the cups with our logo or t-shirts or something.
Yeah. Phil says the weather in the past week has been insane. We went from a record low of 30 below to 50 in 24 hours.
Do we believe that's natural? Something's happening. Now, like I said, it could be Planet X, the Bureau getting near. It could be all this chemtrail that they're doing things. It could be the, what's that thing that's in Alaska? Our HAARP, you know. God only knows. I mean, we haven't seen this crazy weather. Something's happening.
She said it says we went from 44 Celsius to 19 Celsius. And Phil says, last winter we only had snow on the ground for 3 to 4 weeks at most, when it's usually around for months. Anyone over 30 years old can see that something isn't normal. And that's the thing, kids these days, they don't know what normal weather is anymore because they think that extremes are a part of the normal.
Yeah, that's how they've been trained to always know that there's war going on, always know that there's problems going on. They're desensitized. And thank you, Derek. He says to hit the thumbs up button. The haters are trying to alter YouTube system. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, they don't have anything better to do with their lives. Instead of benefiting and helping others, they're putting out destructive videos, trying to hurt people, trying to negate their message. If they have something great to share, they should just share it. And it would be a good thing to help mankind.
Exactly.
So anyway, CR User says, good evening, friends.
Thank you for joining us.
Beloved 777 says, oh, wow, Phil, you could sunbathe after that hike in temperatures.
I'm sure. 50 degrees is still very cold.
Please consider squeezing that like button, peeps. Write a book, Lena. Your story would be a bestseller, I'm sure. I don't know. It's a lot of drama. Lots of drama in there. Lots of sadness, too. Rex Clark Bloom, where you are planted. LOL, corny saying, but true.
Very true. And when he says, yeah, that's what the lotto is for. Be a silent angel. Money comes and goes, but the gifts of the Father are gifts to be shared to all. We all have amazing gifts inside of us. You know, we are part of that divine, that absolute, that great I am. And I believe that is the best way to show what this absolute is by shining on light, by being good to one another, by being truly good to self. And when I mean good to self, I'm not talking about materialistic exchange, but being kind and loving, taking care of your body, realizing that this temple is the most important thing that you own. That although you are a spirit being having a human experience, you need your temple to be working correctly so that that spirit in you could be activated correctly and you could do the things that you need to do here on this planet.
You know, Rex Clark said, lottery is a disgrace, really a joke for those that have a good work ethic and are focused. And one of the things that I remember is that back in the it was late 90s, I think, when Georgia got the lottery, you know, brought to their state, and they approved it. It was because they wanted to raise money for schools. Yeah. So buy a ticket.
They always find it.
Buy a ticket.
Yeah.
So that you can help schools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They always find it
something.
Like, so you can pay for the indoctrination, that indoctrination of your children, so that the state could turn your kids against you, you know, and indoctrinate them. I mean, to me, schools are the biggest joke ever. And yes, Derek, Laurie Hill, David Mott, Monica DeLise, Jerry French, Alpha Omega, Eden Ministries, Pilgrims, Progress, and more are the haters. And they call themselves Christians. I mean, you will know them by their fruit. They are fulfilling prophecy. They are actually behaving the way that people would see Christians behaving. The Christian crusade rings a bell. They want to wipe everybody out that don't believe the way that they do. They don't know how to live peacefully and coexist with others. But I believe in karma. I believe in karma so much. And I never wish anybody any harm. But I know, as I know my name is Maritza del Carmen Perdomo, now Mark Angelo Cummings, that everybody that does something awful, even with their thoughts, that energy gets brought back to them. And not because anybody wants bad things to happen to them, but that's just the way the law of nature and this energy force works. It's the way it is.
You know, when lies are spoken about you, they're lifeless thought forms that end up falling back towards the person that perpetrated that lie in the beginning. So the lie, the false word against somebody will never stand, you know. So these people making all these accusations, you know, and calling people out and you know, just condemning everybody. It doesn't do anything to the person. It only goes to inflict harm on them. Yeah. So at the end of the day, I'm more concerned about their well-being, because, you know, the video that Lori did the other day talking about her personal life and the tragedies that she's been through.
And I saw
I wrote a message, and you saw it.
I mean, I'm the kind of person that I don't even have to meet you in person. I just do a video.
Very empathic.
And I'm like, oh my God, it's like I see chapters of their life flowing right in front of my face. And I everything that she said, you know, that I mentioned in a couple, I don't know what show ago it was, a very hurt little girl. She's been through so much trauma that most people would not even imagine. Sexually molested, and sure enough, she spoke about that. And I mean, just so many things. That spirit child, because there's a little girl in there that still has not matured. You know, and she labels everybody narcissist, but there's a massive narcissist in there. And we hear the word narcissist and we think it's something bad, but narcissist is just a coping mechanism.
It's trying to protect herself.
Yeah, exactly. And it's an energy source that is created. It's gone rogue within that person. That's like a protective mechanism. And I feel so bad for her and so sorry for her, you know?
You know, I can't feel any anger towards her, because I just feel that she just wants to be heard. A person who feels so discarded by
everyone.
Life.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this is a woman who had a marriage and then, you know, had a bad marriage, then had another bad marriage.
And notice a pattern.
And it's like,
notice a pattern.
Yeah.
When that happens, there's something within you that needs to take care of, or that needs to be taken care of. Because if not, that kind of energy is just going to follow you, and like you're going to attract all these negative people in your life until you fix what's going on inside. And she's got a wound from the time she was a little kid. We're talking about 2.5 to 3 years old. That wound started to take place there. Deep wounds. And she knows what we're talking about.
And these wounds, you know, they fester, they grow, they multiply, they create themselves a beachhead, and other wounds actually develop from that one wound. So, and then on top of that, you have archons that love the smell of blood. So when they see the wound, they go in and they wreak havoc, you know? So, I mean, there is just so much there. And, you know, I know, Lori, that you're watching, and I know that, you know, you obviously feel like you're doing what you need to do, but I just want to tell you that we love you and that we're sorry for what you've been through and the past that you've had. But, you know, the road to healing is not by inflicting harm on other people, you know.
It's up to you to heal those scars, to heal those wounds. And you're not going to accomplish that by trying to hurt others.
So anyway, Darth says, I don't want to work, I just want to travel without fear.
And you can make that come true. I mean, there are so many things that you can do online as a traveler. You know, whether you travel with an RV or a van, there's many things that you can do online that will allow you to do that. If you could also do camp hosting, where you only work a few days a week and you get free living, and then if you're doing something online, whatever talents you have, just really meditate on it and really visualize what you want to do, because creator gods get to make things happen when they visualize.
Phil Pill says, a live show would be amazing. We would love that.
Yeah.
And CR User says, actually, both of you could write it. The story, right? The bestseller.
Right.
I met a writer couple at a Harbin Hot Springs retreat. They are vegan chefs in LA. Last name is Judd. I can look up their book.
Yeah, that's another thing that, I'm a certified nutrition consultant, and, love to create vegan dishes. I mean, we just don't make vegan videos because we have one meal a day, and that's our time, that's our sacred time. We did one video, and that was, yeah. But we would love to be able to connect with people, share foods, ideas, healing. We need to heal. I mean, people don't realize how much we really do need to heal. From head to toe, mind, body, and spirit, all three needs to really heal.
Sandra says, you guys should convert a school bus into a camper.
That's a little too big.
I live in a bus, and it's amazing.
I would love that, except that driving, I actually have a 36?
You had a
36-foot RV that I sold. It's too big. That thing eats up gas, I would not believe, plus I can't drive a bus. So we're looking for something small, either a Class C 26-foot, something like that, 25-foot, or a traveling van that's easy to drive. And yeah,
I would be happy with, that Sprinter van that Derek used at Witness in the Desert.
Yeah, but
that was great.
But converted for living space. Yeah. There's a lot of beautiful conversions out there. So anybody who wants to donate a traveling van, and
we are on the road to you.
Yes.
Doing a live show at your house. Just let us park in your
Also, just park in people's houses and just create live shows and healing sessions and you name it. And
so, Gigi for truth.
We love you both and all of our brothers and sisters. We adore all of you.
Rex says, nice. Bus living sounds fun.
It is. I mean, it's, it's an amazing feeling, the freedom of the road. And Derek says, the fifth world, loving your videos.
Yeah, she's got some really great skills, telling stories in the sky.
Yeah.
April, I guess, said something to Derek. Yes, you and Jeff and Bill have restored my trust that there are a growing number of Christians who are coming out of their programming and need to force it on. I'm not sure.
People like us, Aboriginals.
I'm not sure. I think, yeah. Franny.
Hey.
Hi, Franny. Franny's with us. Is this the Franny from Wayne Steiger's group? Because he's like, and I just want to say good morning to Franny. Franny's with us. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know, maybe. Because, yeah. Karen Steele, good evening, Cummings and all.
Good evening, Karen. Thank you for joining us.
Gigi says, hi, sister at Fifth World. Love you. And your video today was excellent.
Yes, it was great videos. And when you say thank you, just moved.
Yeah.
So we try to keep, as we're trying to read, and then all of a sudden it just moves completely.
We should just call our show the comment show. 'Cause we know the comments.
Wow, there's a lot of comments that are behind there. Whoa.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks. Just saying the world of Anna makes the song start playing with the groovy music.
I
love my native music. It's really, there's just something so flavorful.
It is.
Salsa, I mean, it's just spicy type of dancing, and it's just amazing.
It's life. It's like my dream, even before I met Mark, was to go visit Cuba. For some reason, it was always something that really just resonated with me. And I just think the people, the culture, Cuba was like really kind of a cultural icon to the world. Yeah. There was, before when people would travel and do opera and stuff like that, they would rather go to Havana
Yeah, they had all
than
the
to go to New
latest.
York City.
They had all the latest. It was like a very what's artistic, cultural
And
advanced country.
the
Yeah.
history is all there.
April said, "Yes, I'm aware of that since our exchange yesterday, and so am of your wonderful comments, Rex Clark."
Rex says, Christianity cracks me up these days. I knew something was wrong with it. The obvious being it is a religion, duh.
Totally.
I'm in a
It's
good
like
place.
politics, They brainwash you. They get you to believe that they have the answer and the solution, and it's like what president's gonna change your world around, who you vote for in Congress and the Senate, and it's like it's all based on lies. All they care about are the lobbyists, the money. Show me the money. That's what they care about. And the same thing with religion. It's a business.
He goes, I'm in a good place finally. The hard work is paid off.
That's awesome, Rex.
I wish I could get a refund for my early donations to the church.
I know, right? Yeah.
Listening to these two, Derek, Jeff, and Wayne. That's cool. That's cool. That's a good group of people.
Yes. Wayne said he gave close to $1 million to the church in his life, so that made me feel better.
Ooh.
It's a lot of money.
Oh my gosh. Every time it was time to tithe, I was always dreading it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what do these people need this for? It's like the church does this thing on Sunday. They do their thing on Wednesday.
Yep.
And during the week, it's like a shut down building.
Mm.
Instead of like being offered to the community, maybe to help people or train people or whatever, it's like they're just closed. What happened during the Hurricane Harvey? Remember? Joel Osteen's church.
Yep.
Okay, there's a storm going on. They have what used to be called the Compact Center, which was a basketball arena. Okay? And they shut their doors.
I know, when they could have been a place
and
for
they're
refuge.
right in downtown.
Yeah.
Houston. Sad.
Yeah.
And then they make excuses. Oh, we couldn't open it. It was unsafe. And,
Yeah, right.
Crazy.
Like says, I remember when I was born again, or whatever the Protestants call it, and I was trying to learn more. I got some goofy teacher like Chip Ingram and Joyce Meyer, and had a headache.
Joyce Meyer said some stuff that's kind of gotten the Pentecostals and Charismatics up in arms lately. Because it always comes back to finding Christ within. It's always like, even I think it was Charles Stanley, who's a pastor in Georgia. He said that that the only two commandments that you really need to follow are love the Lord with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. And Derek did a show with showing how these guys were like kind of shooting that whole concept down, that you needed to obey the commandments, But it's like everybody is like coming back to this oneness, this gospel of self-enlightenment and awakening, so they are so full of shit. Yes. Marriage is tough. I'm on my third. I feel like I'm finally getting the hang of it.
Well, marriage it's like you make a commitment to learn how to learn the other person and to learn how to do that dance. People want things their way. Even though we grow up and become adults, we still hold on to that teenage rebellious nature, and it's like, I want it my way. And then the other person, no, I want it my way. So marriage it's like it really helps you grow and really challenges you to be the best you can be, or to bring out the worst of you. So it's like really learning. I mean, you're living with this person, sleeping with this person, dealing with their bad habits, and all these different things. And you've got to try to learn to make it work. Marriage is not always, it's all this love, dove-de-dove. I mean, that's the ultimate, but that doesn't always happen. You have to get through all the mud and all the problems. And like you said, it takes sometimes 3 marriages to learn to get the hang of it.
Rex says, Chuck Swindoll, my big headaches listening to him, LOL. And I do remember Chuck Swindoll. He's actually a pastor in Fullerton, California, where I grew up. I used to listen to him. And he's just very dogmatic, very patriarchal
Right,
in his. I remember when I was younger, I actually wanted to go visit his church, and so I went one day. Just so happened he wasn't there. There was a special speaker. So anyway.
And Rex says marriage is a bit silly, and it's true. It is. I mean, it's a contract between you, the other person, and the state. It's a business, total business. I mean, it's like the show we had yesterday regarding all the certificates, marriage certificates, birth certificate, death certificate. It's just another business, another way of them generating money and controlling everyone.
Rex says, I don't date or anything, and some people call me handsome, lol. This is my American Idol pick, though. Hey, Rex, looking good, brother, says Tulin Love. He goes, LOL, William Hung is my hero.
That was so funny. You know, how that whole William Hung thing, and I was just like, really, they made a thing out of it.
Yeah, they did.
And Lupe LaRue says, cool, please let me know in the future about any merchandise so I can wear proudly to promote this wonderful show. Appreciate it, Lupe.
That'd be cool. Bill 220, did you hear? Wendy W. says, new governor is trying to pass Grant County resident look up. Bill 220. Our new governor? Really?
Not much into politics, Wendy. We don't really follow.
I know that she pulled the National Guard recently. Our new governor said, we don't need these people at the border, you know.
Yeah, you said something about that. I try to stay away from all the politics stuff. I mean, I've never really been much into that.
Yeah, I am Monica. This is absolutely something that is very interesting because she writes, I think they're manipulating the weather to confuse vegetation growing cycles, thereby food shortages. And, you know, your dad, a couple of years ago, he was like, oh, we don't have mangoes yet because, you know, somehow they're not, they're off. And
but you know why they want to do that? They want to control the food supply. They want to have their GMO food and their seeds so that there's no natural food, so they're forcing people to eat genetically engineered foods.
Yeah, so like last year, we noticed that the fruit in Silver City had like canker sores on it or something.
Oh, they did, big
Some
time.
weird looking, you know, weird stuff going on, you know?
Totally.
So.
And then Nomad said, garden performance last season was horrible. Yeah, everything had holes in it. Everything was weird. And I'm thinking chemtrails. You know, and they're probably throwing off some nano insects that are probably unable to be seen or very small. And they're just going in there, eating parts of the fruit. So when people eat the fruit, those nano things go inside you. You know, that's why it's so important to like learn how to activate your cells in your body to be like protective of you.
And Tulin Love says, good point. There's already a food shortage. All food is GMO, and there's very little that's organic. I mean, you go to Walmart, you're not going to find organic food there. I mean, even if it says organic,
I don't trust.
you can trust Walmart.
No.
You know?
And Fana joins says they love all the darn drama, I guess. The masses, hello, loves, all my heart. Love you, Fana. Thank you for joining us.
Love you, Fana. Much kindness and love. Husband is dragging me to his brother's house.
Thank you for joining us as long as you have.
And Wendy says that she may be moving to Silver City in the next month or so.
Oh, that's awesome. I get to meet.
Have to go. Stopped in and spread the love.
Thank you, Gigi. Appreciate you.
Spread the love. Robin Stevenson. Good evening, everyone. Love it. Listening to Wayne, your greatness.
So unfortunately, he had some issue with his Hangout, and we tried getting them on, but it wasn't working. So we'll have to see how we could schedule, either try to see how we could use Zoom, even though we don't have Zoom, maybe for one show or something. I don't know. We'll have to work something out.
Figure something out.
And Toli Love said, some crazy pastor was yelling in my page and I haven't even announced my denomination. They just love to, I mean, that's...
Crazy pastors are everywhere, control freaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they want you to be chained, basically. So...
Well, isn't that their business?
To chain you.
Yeah.
I mean, Paul says it. Paul, a bondservant of Christ.
Yeah.
Enslaved.
They have this,
I mean, it's like
this martyr mentality. You know, it's like, why? Yin and yang, or yang and yin, says Darth. What you put out comes back to you. Electric tragedy, totally. I'm a big believer in that law.
Fana says, essentially got divorced because I wanted to stay home and read. Well, he needed me with him like a trinket of sorts.
Wow.
So sorry. Tulin, I know it's more confirmation to me. Get out of her, my people.
Get out of her, my people.
That was, I'm not sure. Maybe the pastor, I'm not sure. It's important to be be patient and have empathy towards these people. Most of us were in their paradigm at one point in our lives. I know I was.
Yeah, it's like you do
patient.
have to feel sorry for them because they're enslaved. They're just they have the Stockholm syndrome, and that's all they know. You know, so yeah, definitely we need to be loving and patient towards them as much as possible. I know it's hard sometimes.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Fana. We tried to get Wayne, but it didn't work out. You know, we had some technical
Yeah, on
difficulties.
his end, he hasn't used Hangout, and he couldn't hear us. We could hear him, and then he would go off, and it just before we even went live, and then after we tried to get him to call, but he has bad cell service. So
Hopi and G, hi Hopi.
thank you for joining us. People will tell you there's problems without knowing it, usually aiming at what they see that resembles who they are and don't want to admit. Prayer for all. Love you too. Hope you're all good. We're doing great. Thanks. Thank you for joining us, and we appreciate you being here with us.
Yeah. They'll tell you there are problems without knowing it, usually aiming at what they see that resembles who they are,
Yeah.
and they don't want to admit it.
Yeah.
So they want to play the hypocrite.
It's a reflection, you know.
From the Bronx Tale, Rex Clark says, trouble is like a cancer. You got to get it early. You don't get it early, it gets too big, then it kills you. You got to cut it out. Capiche?
Capiche, totally. Love is easy. Says,
Oh, Granny needs sleep. Blessings all. Thank you, Mark and Mona. Love you all.
thank
Love
you
you
for
too,
joining
Dottie.
us. Thank you for joining us. Sonny on the Bronx Tale was a great man.
Many people, what?
Who's Sonny on the Great Tale?
The Bronx Tale. From the Bronx Tale. I don't know, a movie? I guess.
Maybe.
April says, many people indigenous in the midst of where I live purchase lottery tickets. I find it deeply and profoundly symbolic of disparity, injustice, manipulation, and a blatant hopelessness. You know, I
My
went...
dad lives in that kind of like, oh, win. But he did win once. He won $50,000. So now he's like, keeps thinking he's going to do it again.
I went to a reservation, and we were doing a boxing production for Fox or something, and we went out to this reservation that had a casino, and it was just a very depressing place because so much of those reservations have been just completely run down, and the people are so defeated. I mean, there's just like a gloom, that sets over the people, and they think that they're going to solve that by having a casino on the reservation land.
Yeah, and that's what happens, It's like, yeah.
Hopi, sometimes people just need to speak to frame something. Also, unless it's framed, solutions cannot be found. Oh no.
You need to put that off.
I know. In my honest opinion, tabling a problem is needful for resolution. Nomad says, look at the hate we're breeding. Look at the fear we're feeding. Look at the lives we're leading. The way we've always done before.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting, Mark, you're going to need to use that as a lyric. Look at the hate we're breeding. Look at the fear we're feeding. Look at the lives we're leading. The way we've always done before. That's a song, babe.
Yeah.
Right there. Hope you don't mind, Nomad. if we have permission to use that. That's a really good one. Whoa.
All the way up.
She said, it says, you have to trust the energy is actually able to discern where that info is needed. And April says, there will never be reconciliation without truth first. I know that this to be the case.
Truth is very important, completely important.
Guns N' Roses Civil War lyrics.
Okay, so it's
Gotcha.
already been used.
Gotcha.
That's why it sounds like a good,
Okay.
good lyric.
No longer need they feel to force it on us, though there are some very negative behaviors still happening. Luna, that was the end of the statement.
Trying too fast and have a terrible keyboard here. Got to replace it. Typing too fast. I was too fast. Yeah.
Patience in the jungle. All hunters need patience, so the two are not mutually incompatible in wildlife. Humanity, however,
Yeah.
not so much.
My mother was told Luna.
My question is, what the heck are they doing with all that blood? Red Cross didn't help any at all. Any hurricane in the past decade. Wonder if they really ever did now.
Yeah, you kind of wonder what they do with all that stuff, you know? And then what do they do with all these, like, aborted babies? You know? You got to wonder what that goes on as well. I mean, that's, yeah.
You know, she said, I would use Zoom for making YouTube videos. We've been looking at other things for making our videos since we had some problems a few weeks ago. But Zoom, I mean, first of all, they charge for it. But also, it's like, you have to like be their commercial. It's like, Zoom,
yeah.
You know? And yeah, there's some software out there that gives you the split screens and everything. I was showing it to you.
Yeah.
And I installed it on my laptop and it was working great. But, you know, still, I mean, I don't know. We're just kind of stuck, you know.
Yeah,
just
because
kinda
it's to
used
bring in a guest. I don't know if that would allow that one, because the one we have, what is it, OBS, that we can't bring in a guest.
Yeah, OBS doesn't
It can't
allow you
to
to.
bring in a guest. And I tried the other day playing with it, and it was just, you know.
But there was that other one I was showing you.
Yeah, I need to find out what that one
was
is so I
pretty
could
decent.
download it on my computer. Let's see, Darth says, Shalom, good night, brothers. Love you all. I have no enemy, only have brothers.
That's cool.
That's good. That's awesome. That's how we should all be. Should be no enemies. You know, everybody should just love.
April's leaving us. She says, Megwitch, you guys, nothing is changing without us all discussing it. The lack going on with the reservations and other disasters as well.
Yes.
She said it said they incinerate fetuses.
But I think they also
Stem cell research fan
they
says
use
Bill,
parts and things of that nature. And I also heard that they put fetus cells in vaccines.
Wow.
You know, things of that nature. You just, yeah, crazy stuff. And apothecary jars. What is that?
I'm not sure. Apothecary jars and display it in macabre fashion.
Interesting.
Got offered a contract in a medical facility, did the walkthrough, and realized it was an abortion clinic.
Bad stuff. All right, so I have another little article here, Trans Corner. Are transgender women just reinforcing sexist stereotypes? You know, I don't know where the whole stereotype started or when. I think maybe in the 40s and 30s is when things really started getting pretty bad, and what, you know, I don't know when it exactly started, you know, that
What?
the stereotyping, you know, that women should do a certain thing and men should do certain thing, women should wear dresses, and, you know, I mean, I think
So I think it's before then.
way before then, but
I mean, Victorian times, women were wearing.
yeah, that's true.
Were wearing. You know what?
I guess
What are those
because like
waist
the natives,
things?
were the natives much into stereotypes?
No.
I don't think so. I think it's more of a European brought into, you know, making everybody be a certain way. Men have to cut their hair, you know, women have to have long hair.
I would suggest that it's probably the Christian Catholic religion that's caused this type of, you know, disparity and polarity. and stuff, because you still see native cultures where there isn't that distinction as strongly.
Yes.
I mean, even here in Silver City, there's a native couple that that you helped that one woman.
Yes.
Their sons have
Long
hair,
hair,
and
yeah.
they're beautiful, androgynous people.
Yeah, and I think
The
that's
husband is more androgynous.
Yeah.
And
I think that's a beautiful thing. I think that's where the balance of who we are, and that's where the healing is going to come, when people learn to love and value both their energy. Because remember, we're all connected. So we all have to have that balance and unconditional love, self and for each other. So would transgender women exist if men were free to wear dresses? I mean, that's I've always asked that question, like, if everybody had to wear the same thing, or we had to wear a uniform, would there still be, this craze with gender and transitioning and stuff like that? I mean, today we watched I Am Jones, and the whole, it was like, so the part with the dilator and how,
oh my God.
So sexualized, so, it's just, if you really break it down, what this whole transgender thing is very stereotypical, very sex related, even in that 17-year-old teen, with this thing, and they're promoting this on national television.
Yeah, they were, had a dilator and it was saying, oh, right now I'm at this, but then now in a few weeks I'll be, and then pulls out another one. It's a thicker one and says, I'll be here.
And mind you, they've had more complications than the majority of people would have. And here they're this young, healthy individual where, they were on touch and go there, and it's like, and they're thinking about the depth and how they enjoy dilating. I'm like,
while watching the World Cup.
While watching the World Cup, I'm like, something's not right here. Anyway, what does it mean to be a transgender person? Well, sex differences are acquired from cultural norms. Is being transgender a reflection of the social ills caused by sexism and oppression? And is transgender movement merely reinforcing sex stereotypes? I think so.
Here are some excerpts. The problem I have is when you start referring to female hearts, brains, and souls, or living as a man or a woman, quote unquote, these are cultural constructs and are deeply sexist statements.
Totally. To say, hey, Joanne, you've got a female brain. What does that mean? Or a female heart, or your soul. It's like, to me, it's totally disrespectful. I have no problem with men or women wearing dresses, a suit, or expressing themselves any way they wish. But I don't accept that these preferences or behaviors literally make you the opposite sex, a male or a female. It's like, before there were, the latest fashion or whatever else, I can't, I don't get it.
Most, if not all, transgender people explain their experience in terms of cultural sex stereotypes and roles. A trans woman is a male who simply identifies, quote unquote, as a female by referring to these stereotypes.
Normally it's like, well, I feel like a woman because I like to wear dresses and I like to play with dolls when I was a kid. And it's like, those are stereotypes and roles. That doesn't, no.
Fana says, there's a bathhouse I frequent that gives men and women and children the same shirts and shorts to wear.
There you go.
I love that place.
It's right, because, if you think about it, they created articles of clothing to determine who you are. And, same thing with money. Like, the people that are affluent get to wear nicer clothing than the people that aren't. It's anything to divide and confuse. So, everybody should just wear jumpsuits. Same color. So that way you're not looking at people for what they're wearing and what they have. You're forced to look at people's hearts and their soul through their eyes. And get people to behave and get to know who they are for their spirit, not for their external. Hormones do not make women like dresses and makeup, become submissive, soft and gentle, or do caring. Nurturing jobs, for example. All of these stereotypes are cultural and are the root cause of both sexism and homophobia.
I do see an opportunity for acceptance of all people as they are, not how society expects them to be. Transgender theory stops that opportunity dead in its tracks by forcing males and females back into their supposed boxes based on nothing more than subjective self-identification with sex stereotypes that hold us all back, especially girls and women.
And that's a key point there, subjective self-identification. So let's continue this discussion by examining these ideas about gender identity, or gender identity, gender identity, and expression. Okay, aren't the differences between men and women just a result of culture and socialization? Isn't the idea of female brains and male brains deeply sexist and the root of the oppression? I mean, men have been using certain words and actions to demean women, to make them think that they're hysterical, that you're depressed because you're a woman, and so this transgender thing is reinforcing these stereotypes.
These ideas regarding gender differences were in vogue back in the 70s when research assumed that male and female brains started out the same, and it was culture, education, and parenting that imposed observable differences. To claim otherwise was considered sexist and without merit. Following suit, progressive parents started handing dolls to their sons and trucks to their daughters, and then typically watched their kids negotiate trades with each other.
Now we know this trade negotiation is due to inborn hardwired sex differences. Over the past 4 decades, as our understanding of biology has increased, and we've developed technology for brain imaging, there's mounting evidence that male and female brains do develop and function very differently. And the actual studies were actually meant depending on how the child was treated, because the brain is very plastic and it changes according to the environment. It changes, like if you're born and you have 3 or 4 brothers and sisters, and let's say you favor hanging around and playing with your sister, and you want to behave like your sister, your brain will start changing. Your thought process will start changing your brain. And then culture norms simply reflect this inborn sex difference in gender-based tendencies.
Especially compelling evidence of inborn sex differences is found in several studies where young male and female monkeys, like human boys and girls, preferred stereotypical boy and girl toys, trucks for boys, dolls for girls. Clearly, these young primates weren't influenced by human society's ideas on what is appropriate for boys versus girls. This phenomenon suggests an innate biological component to gender-related behaviors.
Now, my question to this is, how does a monkey know what a female toy is versus, I think it's just a very personal thing. Some people like vanilla, other people like chocolate. Before there were dolls, and we lived in native land, and then all we had was palm trees and whatever. There weren't specific gender toys.
Great.
Okay, so I was just seeing if anybody, I got words for PepsiCo that I shall not display here. In other words, we're better off following the child's lead as to what his or her preference and tendencies are. Putting a child into a unisex box is a fundamentally oppressive as putting a child into a strictly male or strictly female box. I've always believed that allow the child to express what they want to play with, what they want to wear. Forcing a child to play with trucks because he's a boy and forcing a girl to play with dolls because she's a girl is very inhumane, because I think they're personal preferences that we have,
Phil Pill says, we're living in clown world. We are depending on monkeys knowing the gender preferences of toys.
I know.
So we don't argue. We don't really agree with every article that we post or read or whatever.
That's why I'm like, saying that. How does a monkey know what? Oh yeah, there's a girl thingy.
Whoa.
What happened there? Oh,
Are we breaking up?
I don't know.
Hi guys, thank you for everything you do. Love you both. Great show.
Thank you. Did we get stuck?
I don't know. They could tell us. You guys, are we still coming out good to you guys?
We're having, let's see here. Gremlins again. Should I bring down the thing or again?
I don't know. We gotta. Yes, a little bit breaking up.
Yes, we're breaking up.
Yeah, we're breaking up a little bit. So you might
Let me go.
want to drop it.
Drop it here. Let's see how that goes. We're gonna get an Ethernet.
Pheromones, she said it. Bill Pill, I was a gender non-conforming child and I grew up to be a gay man.
There you go. And that's I truly believe that's it. I mean, it's like, so yeah, the hormones are a little off, which might make you a man that's a little more feminine, and liking more feminine things, but that doesn't make you the opposite gender. And that's this craziness that we're seeing this day and age, that people think that.
Phil says, thank God I only had to deal with adults telling me you should have been a girl instead of you're trans. And AK says, there are no Bibles in nature.
No, none whatsoever. Gosh, I hate when this thing. We order an Ethernet cable.
And then Phil says, though neither are okay. You should have been a girl or you're trans.
And I know.
Neither are okay.
It's just be who you are. If that's a masculine female or a feminine boy, it's just.
Or a masculine male and a feminine female.
Yeah, exactly. Just be you. That's the beauty of things. I don't know what's going on. This is like crazy stuff. Crazy. All right. So where were we? So isn't gender dysphoria simply a result of being limited to gender stereotypes? What if men were free to wear dresses? How gender identity expresses itself is, of course, tied to cultural norms. But our traditional patriarchal society did not create the stereotypes of the nurturing female in a dress and the aggressive male in pants. As such, gender dysphoria is not cured by simply wearing a dress or a business suit. Being female or male cannot be reduced to culturally assigned uniforms. Gender is a core sense of identity. The transgender person seeks acknowledgement and validation for being, not just dressing like the other gender. And that, the transgender person seeks acknowledgement and validation for being. Being what? Being different? Being a male that doesn't like to wear men's clothes because whatever reason? I mean, it's almost like it makes absolutely no sense. Are we stuck?
Magic says, be you, boo.
Yeah.
Phil Pill says, leftists hate the individual.
They totally do. And they want to, I think they want to eliminate homosexuality or try to bring the numbers down. That's my opinion where this thing where it's heading.
Black Cat, my son is a little feminine, but he's still a boy. It's fine if he wants to paint his nails.
That's right. It's like, who says that nail painting or dresses just belong to women? It's fashion. Fashion shouldn't mean that you're going to put yourself through dangerous surgeries and take dangerous hormones that are going to shorten your life and give you cancer.
What's his name? Magic Johnson's son.
Oh, yeah.
Is a free spirit, and he plays with makeup and dresses very femininely and freely as he wants to, layers and rayon.
And he's fabulous. And he's fabulous, and he's like free. That's the difference between a person that's free than a transgender individual who is constantly looking behind their shoulder. Are they going to out me? Am I going to get clocked? And then they're always unhappy because they're always, like we mentioned in the beginning of the show, when you desire something, when you have these expectations and you can't meet these expectations, you become frustrated, angry at yourself and angry at the world, instead of just fabulously being who you are.
Todd Garfield, sex is not a rule for life. It is simply a condition of the environment. Odds are 1,000 years from now, humans will have no sex.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we'll be human.
No, we won't.
Honestly, though, being told that I was born wrong was incredibly damaging and effed me up.
Phil, you have a point there. Do you imagine how many parents, when they're ashamed of their feminine little boy or ashamed of their masculine little girl, and then now they're seeing all this gender swap thing, and they figure, well, I'd rather have this child that's gender dysphoric, and then we could like proceed with this transformation. Do you know the harm that does to an individual? You know the self-hatred that individual starts to take on because they want to be that opposite gender at all costs? And their entire life gets turned upside down because I've yet to find a transgender individual who's fully happy. No matter what they do to themselves, they could have all the surgeries in the world. They're still dysphoric, they're still unhappy, and they're still chasing their tail.
And Phil, my heart goes out to you. I mean, incredibly damaging. Some people just don't know how damaging their words can be.
Totally.
And you know how they have massive repercussions for us as we get older. You know, I mean, I can totally resonate with what you're saying, and you know, it's hard. It really is. And when you are not a typical male, you know, that society wants everyone to make everyone to look like, then they're told that they're wrong.
Yeah.
They're told that they're a girl, or they're told that they're too feminine or whatever.
Too sensitive.
You know, too sensitive or whatever.
Yeah.
He says, I was never actually dysphoric, though. I was just a feminine male child. And I was always told that I was worthless.
That's so sad. I'm so sorry to hear that. I mean, it's no one should tell anybody that.
It's like,
and I think, I think that's what created the start of this transgender thing. People being told they're worthless, so they believe it, so they think they have to change. You know, because this whole dysphoria, do you know what dysphoria means? That you are unhappy portraying the person that you are because society doesn't accept you, so therefore you have to change to try to attempt to fit into society's box. And 9 times out of 10, no one gets to achieve that. You don't. And you're like tearing your life apart, becoming unhealthy, giving yourself self-hatred, trying to be something you will never be.
Gail Single says, I used to love to dress as a man sometimes. I especially like the suspenders and flat shoes. No gender issues, just a choice.
It's fashion. Everyone should be allowed to wear what they like, you know?
AK says, Pope Francis signs a covenant with a Islamic Muslim imam. It begins.
Whoa. I'm telling you, folks, we're going to be seeing so much craziness. We have to prepare ourselves. We really do.
Todd says, what's the condition called where you say you are a born male with a phallus but you have ovaries?
That's intersex. Intersex. Okay, so do hormones affect male and female appearances, tendencies, preferences, and behaviors? Yes, hormones affect how we look, feel, and behave. Female hormones result in body curves, soft skin, motivation to be visually attractive, being drawn to babies, and the ability to breastfeed. Male hormones result in broad shoulders, more body hair, motivation to exhibit skill and expertise, being drawn to competition, and a superior ability to open jars.
Even before birth, the timing and extent of exposure to androgen, a male hormone, affects brain development and gender expression later in life. Culture and socialization also shape gendered behavior, but hormones can facilitate or dampen these influences. In other words, you can encourage masculine or feminine behavior in children, but hormone exposure before birth determines whether they embrace or reject these influences. And Phil says, LOL at opening jars.
I know, right? And yes, hormones do affect. Obviously, when my mom took DES to prevent miscarriages, it made me very androgenic. But that's where you have a lot of very masculine women. And that's why, you know, if you're lacking of the androgen, that's why you have very feminine men. But it doesn't make us the opposite gender. That's where that's where the mismatch is. Where do stereotypes come from? And which came first? Masculine and feminine stereotype, or masculine men and feminine women? That's like, who came first, the chicken or the egg? Human brains are hardwired to look for patterns, and we humans, men and women, notice the tendency, differences, and patterns between and among us, which form the basis of gender stereotypes.
These stereotypes are reflected in masculine and feminine archetypes, which have persisted across cultures and throughout the ages for a reason, because they contain certain truths. And according to evolutionary biologists and sociologists, there are many masculine traits found in men and feminine traits found in women that have served us well in promoting the survival of our species.
Yeah, and they're like reproductive things that are required, for reproduction. Still, most people land somewhere between the extremes and can embrace both their masculine and feminine tendencies. Indeed, some men are more nurturing or sensitive or talkative than some women. Likewise, some women are more gruff or competitive or nonverbal than some men.
That's funny. Phil says, in my family, only mom knew the trick of opening a jar. Does that mean my mom wasn't female? No. She just knew a very basic household trick.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, like I said, this article is not something that we completely agree with because they're in the process of destroying stereotypes. They're creating them.
Yeah, right.
So
very confused.
But know this: whether you're male or female, if you want someone to wrestle with, you're more likely to find a willing partner in a boyfriend or bro-friend, if you prefer. And if you want to have a long chat about relationships and emotions, you're more likely to turn to a girlfriend. But aren't stereotypes harmful, especially to girls and women?
And again, it's like
they're just stereotypes.
Yeah, it's like, and that's what this trans thing is doing. It's like so much that they want to break the stereotypes that they're actually creating it, and they don't realize that, like, look, just be you. Don't have to change your birth certificate. Don't have to get surgeries or take hormones. Just be you.
And April says, well, again, I respectfully disagree and hope you will please consider not making the blanket statements you do at times, because that means me as we, real talk. And like I said, I don't agree with this article, April. I don't, it's making me cringe actually when I'm reading some of this stuff.
Right.
So I'm with you on that.
And what part is making you cringe?
Well, I mean, the whole article is making me cringe because I'm trans, and I deal with gender dysphoria, and I don't like the fact that I was born male. I don't, I still deal with the realities of that, and I still, you're at a different place.
Right. No, but I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to understand the whole concept of cringing and not liking.
You embrace being a woman. Still,
I'm embracing being me. I mean, I'm just me as a person,
Right. Well, I don't embrace being male. So when I read things that just want to disparage trans people and paint them as gender stereotyping, individuals who are struggling, literally struggling.
Right. I understand
with
that.
Reality.
I understand that, but let's look at the
supersede.
What's the struggle? Not being able to fit into a stereotype?
No. It's just a stereotype it's just a struggle of not feeling comfortable in the place that you have been placed in life. And there's a discomfort there.
Right.
So you want to find comfort in something that you actually can latch onto, that has teeth for you, that means something for you. So it's like that whole concept of all this stereotyping just makes me cringe.
So gender stereotypes in and of themselves are harmless generalizations that only become harmful when used as a tool of oppression. We typically think of oppression as happening across society, where stereotypes can be derogatory. You throw like a girl, or judgmental, real men don't cry, or require conformity. Women can be nurses, men can be doctors.
So she said, I understand you, Lena. Phil Pill said, I 100% support the idea of being born trans, but that it is not the same as being gender non-conforming.
And Todd said it is okay to go back and forth or to exist as both genders?
Honestly, when I've come to realize that these bodies that we've been placed in by our God of this world are really inconsequential. So we have sex organs that are different, right? In the male and the female. But, that's to his advantage. It's not for us.
Right.
It's to his advantage so that he can keep more of us procreating.
It's part of the imprisonment.
It's part of the prison planet. You know, the dividing
So
is what is destroying.
exactly. So by
You know?
realizing that and not being so attached to these vehicles, because when you're attached to the vehicle or attached to a certain whatever, we are feeding these archons. We're giving them what they want. April says, it's okay. I will never retract my commitment to love you both. I do not embrace being male either, but I can be there for ceremony as male. And Todd said,
I like to be both genders at all times.
and I truly believe that is the mission for us, because the archons, the God of this world, divided us. So the struggle is that we're searching for that other half of us to become one again. And that's when we're going to find true healing, when we embrace both our male and our female side. When you tell yourself, I hate my male body, you're sending so much negative energy inside your cells that you're causing diseases to yourself. You're hurting yourself. By embracing both, you are becoming a divine being. Archons don't want that, so they continue to feed your brain by telling you, oh, you hate your gender.
Gail Single says it's okay to feel how you feel. And Mrs. Light said something, but
She retracted it.
It was something nice.
Was it?
Yeah. The problem is...
no, go ahead. You go. Go ahead.
The problem is that we're going towards gender stereotypes equaling the medicalization of our lives.
And that's a big problem. That's a big problem, because it's like every time we say, well, we don't like the color of our eyes, so we're going to get a new pair of eyes, or we don't like, the head is too whatever, so we're going to cut our head and get a new one. There's many things that human beings don't like, and they're forced to deal with it. The other day I saw this video. This man was born with no arms and no legs, just a trunk in his head. And the parents never made him feel sorry for himself and taught him to do things for himself. And he was like, why don't you help me? I have no arms or legs. I mean, he used to get frustrated. But the parents did something wonderful, because now this kid goes to college. He is able to do everything. He uses his mouth, he uses his neck, he uses his chin, and he does everything every able person could do without any arms and legs. So that's the moral of the story. We could either feel sorry for ourselves and pout and say, we don't like this about it and I'm not going to accept it, or we could learn to move above that and grow and be the spirit beings, the light beings that we're supposed to be.
April says, I am two-spirit.
Then I'm all for that. I consider myself two-spirit.
April says, I am Aboriginal, not white.
Yeah, I consider myself two-spirit too. I'm Taino, born in
Phil
Cuba.
says, why can't transgender people just be transgender people?
Mm-hmm.
Why do they have to insist they're something they're not? This seems to be the root of the problem.
Exacto mundo. It's like, you could, being trans is almost like saying two-spirited. It's the new modern word for the two-spirited, because obviously the person was born the opposite gender that they're presenting as. But they don't just get to throw that gender away. It's like, okay, well, now I'm going to blend these two beautiful energies together and make some beautiful masterpiece out of it, instead of having to replicate the gender that you're trying to emulate. It's like, you're beautiful the way you are. Make something gorgeous. Don't be a replica.
Mrs. Light, I love the way you are, Lena. Thank you. Magic says, don't attach to your avatar, guys.
Exactly. That's the name of the game. Do not become attached to this avatar. I've also feel challenged on your behalf. Reference some of the trans attack. Good thought, Al. Magic Al. Okay. Yeah. He said, don't attach your avatar. And that's the name of the game. It's like, is it healthy to hate yourself because of how you were born? Is it healthy to feed into a system that wants to medicate you, cut you up, so you could try to be something you're not? That's not healthy. There's no evolution in that. April said that is where we find much agreement. Integrating both male and female internally are necessary. Totally. That's part of our evolution, our spiritual awakening.
Magic Gal says, this 3D body doesn't matter when it comes for your true soul. That's who you are. We didn't choose this, don't forget.
Right. I think we're going fuzzy again. And Phil, yes, Mark, just be a whole person rather than a category. Totally. I mean, that's, where did we leave off?
But gender stereotypes can even be more oppressive and personally damaging when experienced on a small scale. such as when a spouse criticizes his or her partner for not living up to feminine or masculine ideals, or when a parent insists a son be more manly or a daughter be more girly, pushing against the child's natural tendencies. When stereotypes are used to oppress, females and males alike are susceptible to harm.
I know I was exposed to that. You need to be more girly. Girls don't walk like that. Girls do this. Girls do that. And it's like, hey, can I do anything right? I'm sure you probably had a lot of that growing up. You know, you weren't like your cousins and you weren't a certain way. Was that something you dealt with? Yeah. So the good news as the information age exposes us to an enormous range of self-expression, our social and individual tolerance for diversity is rising, and we become less prone to overgeneralizing. E.g., men are never nurturing enough to be nurses, women are never smart enough to be doctors. How many women doctors are there this day and age, and how many nurse men are these days? And oppression, men are not admitted to nursing school, women are not admitted to medical school. As a result, more and more people around the world are exercising the right to be true to themselves without risking personal rejection, social isolation, ridicule, or even death.
Isn't the transgender rights movement forcing us all back into gender stereotypes? If anything, this new wave of civil rights is forcing us to examine our use of gender stereotypes, to open our minds and to become more respectful and tolerant of gender nonconformity, which is the opposite of forcing males and females back into their supposed boxes.
Think of the current female icon in our culture and how varied they are in style, mannerism, values, from sultry kitten Selena Gomez to sassy smart Tina Fey to badass athletic Serena Williams. Now think about the current male icons, from sexy humble Will Smith to sweetly funny Jimmy Fallon to badass musical Justin Timberlake.
They are a testimony to how people are less required to fit in or conform to gender stereotypes as our society becomes even more open and diverse. Perhaps as society tolerates more diversity of gender expression, all of us will become more free to express ourselves as however masculine or feminine we feel, without being obligated to go to the far ends of the spectrum or cave into stereotypes.
Exactly.
You can start today by simply being and accepting your true self, just the way nature and nurture made you.
Exactly. And that's, to me, that's important. It doesn't mean that, if you're not comfortable identifying masculine male, that you're just you. You're a spirit having a human experience, and there's nobody that can tell you how to be you. But like Phil said, just be a whole person rather than a category. That's.
Mr. Bone Dangles joins us, says I really like the ladies, he says. And Phil says, why am I not surprised this author complains about gender stereotypes while making no salient point about the vacuous nature of gender stereotype feminism?
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, that article was...
Yeah, I just, I like to present different things and different viewpoints and then talk about it and then put in our 2 cents, and I mean, we can't live our life, in a bubble and only like what we like and not realize that this is all a learning experience. We are here to surpass our comfort zone, and we are going to be forced to surpass our comfort zones, because when things change from the way they are now, people are not going to have the time to worry about trivial things that we worry about now. I mean,
Phil says, I'm a gay man and an elementary school teacher. I'm constantly being viewed as a dangerous threat.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, it's like, yeah, but, society is going to learn. Human beings are going to learn. Mother Nature is going to make sure of that.
Magic House says, watch out how deep you guys dig into your past. Some emotions need a little more care and time. Teal Swan talks a lot about societies and the acceptance, which is ridiculous.
We've heard of her. We've watched some of her videos in the past.
That was something that, what's her name from Oregon, the trans person, used to like listening to her. The one with the tinctures. I haven't seen them lately on IG. The trans person that was from Oregon that went to
Okay.
Hawaii.
Oh, yes, yes. Okay.
Yeah. April says on the protection of children.
Oh gosh, I mean that's my other massive plight here is by trying to fit into these stereotypes. What do we do with our children? We're forcing them into a box. There's absolutely nothing wrong with expression. There's nothing wrong with dressing as you wish. You know, as long as you don't take it so seriously, as long as you don't get too attached to the avatar, because there's a danger in that too. Trans people become self-consumed because they want so badly to be something, okay? And that self-consumption is very dangerous and very archonic and very destructive,
Phil Pill says, you think I don't deal with homophobia? You think I don't deal with sexism? Think again.
Every day, I'm sure. I mean, as advanced as we are as a species, as remarkable progress that we've made. I mean, I was in the gay community, Phil. By the time I was 16 years old, I used to sneak in to the gay club in El Paso, Texas. I went to high school in El Paso. I was 16 years old, and I would sneak in. And I have lived in the LGBT community. Well, back then there was no TLGB community since that time. And I've seen leaps and bounds of growth, in the community. And we have things now that we didn't have back then. But has all the prejudice gone away? No, not at all. People still look at feminine men and they kind of go, they give you a look, they might cringe, they might do whatever. I mean, that's something that I think humanity needs to evolve to accept everyone for who they are. And I think if humanity accepted everyone for who they are, this trans thing wouldn't have gone the way it has. I believe that everything that happens in life is created by human reaction, by human beings doing things to make things happen.
Black Cat, I think it depends on where you live. My son's therapist was trans or gay, and nobody really cares. It's according to Black Cat.
Yeah.
April says, with the utmost respect, you know nothing about me. And Phil says, however, if I ever brought you the fact that the crap I deal with is related to patriarchy, quote unquote, I would be laughed out of the room.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm being smothered on both sides. On the right, because I'm a loser, faggy male.
Wow.
And from the left, because I wasted my privilege. It sucks.
I know. It's crazy. Crazy stuff. And what is that? What else?
April says, those who speak and give advice are only proving they know little about those they advise else at Magic Owl.
And this right here. Gail said, grandson started at his special school last week. That's where you learn about acceptance. Not one child the same as another.
Rex says, great insight here and very true. And she said it. Patriarchy has harmed both males and females when taken to extremes.
Exactly. I was just speaking.
Gail says, move to the special school system at Phil. Such a lovely environment.
And there's Martin. Hey, good conversation tonight. Didn't see your guest. My apologies. Glasses lit up. Go in for the intellectual look. I like it.
Oh,
no, our guest wasn't able. We had hiccups with the Hangout. He's never used it before. He's used to using Zoom, and it didn't work out, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've had glasses since I was like in 4th grade, but I hated glasses for a long time, and I didn't want to wear them. So when I was 18 is when I started wearing contacts, and usually I wear contacts mostly, but my eyes, sometimes you feel like your eyes really need a break. So
I've been wearing glasses since I was 1 year old. I tried a contact thing. My mom worked for an ophthalmologist. It didn't work. So this is what I got. I'm cross-eyed. It is what it is. I don't live to pay attention to this avatar.
I wasn't living to pay attention.
No,
to
I'm just saying
avatar,
me.
though.
I'm just saying me. I'm not talking about you.
It's just better
Yeah.
not having to have a mark on your nose every time you wear glasses. It's just
A lot of people wear them. I think you look cute with glasses.
Well, I like them. I don't mind these. We got these in Mexico.
Yeah, we did.
Hugs April says she said it. AK, Phil, if you don't hurt anybody, nobody, you don't have a problem, but they have it.
Yeah. And let's see what else. I'm surrounded by foreigners and should not have to spend all night explaining myself to ignorance.
Well, April, I mean, everybody has a different path where they're from, and everyone has a different journey that they're
Yeah.
on. So, I mean, I don't,
But why do you feel
I
that
don't know
you're,
why do you feel that
you have
you're
to explain?
explaining that people are being ignorant? I mean, I
Why
don't,
is that? I mean,
I don't
I don't
quite
understand.
understand. Um,
Phil goes, we both look cute in glasses. We look like Wonder Twins.
Right. Oh, shame about the guest, but Lena, the glasses are fine. You and Mark aren't having to impress anyone anyway. Wear them with pride.
Exactly. That's
Oh,
how I feel.
I don't have a problem wearing glasses. It's just personal preference is all. Um, I actually don't mind wearing glasses. These are the kind that transition, so
Yeah.
sometimes I just like to wear them.
April, seriously, why
I
do you,
sense some offense.
yeah.
And in an earlier comment too, I didn't read the exchange that she was trying to have with Derek. Derek, I guess, wasn't responding
Oh,
entirely to what she
okay.
wanted, but I don't know. It's true. I don't know much about being gay. However, I know what it's like to spend my life wondering what's wrong with me and that I might be cursed. I have Asperger's and have spent most of my life alone.
Asperger is pretty hard. I mean, I have Asperger, Lena has Asperger. Sometimes we misinterpret things. Our modulation system doesn't always work great. Um, I think that we could improve. There's things, and I've improved dramatically from how I was before. You know, I've stepped out of the box a lot. But it takes a lot of work. Magic Al says, your perspective at April Chappelle, I love and respect her opinion. And then she says, I feel that when people tell me that I don't know myself well enough and offer advice are actually not people I could trust. Are you referring to any of my comments, April? I mean,
I mean, everybody, I mean, I totally respect your journey. I
yeah,
mean, I honor your indigenous past and your present, and I believe you bring a wealth of really important knowledge and wisdom to the table. And, yeah, other people don't have the past and experience and the culture that you have, but we're honored to have you. And
yeah,
just like when we have Phoenix I Am in the group as well,
yeah.
we enjoy having her perspective, unique as it is,
I mean, it's
and I
everybody
love
has,
having a Martin in here because he has his unique perspective to offer. And, she said it. I
yeah,
mean, all these wonderful people,
exactly. I mean,
Mr. Bogdangles, I mean, he's a very gracious
yeah,
individual as well. I mean, it's like, you know, we're all on this journey together.
exactly.
This
And
ship is we're all in it.
I've got my perspective on how I feel about the whole trans thing. I've been at this since 2003. All of my life, I struggled because of my mother not accepting me for who I was and shamed me. Do I think that transition is the solution for everyone? No. Do I think that it actually helps in the long run? No. I mean, what was it you read yesterday? A 7-something-year-old trans woman, she was something or another, died of cancer. I mean, I think that
70.
70, yeah. I think that, in the long term, this stuff really creates a lot of emotional, physical, and health issues. And I think my message, I'm not trying to be rude or mean or anything to anybody. My message is we need to learn to love ourselves no matter what we look like. We need to accept that we are spirits having a human experience. We need to stop making these meat suits so important because in the end, what does it do? It makes us, it makes us sad, it makes us angry, it makes us frustrated.
And this is a very archaic and a very primitive way of communicating when we just have text flashing up on a screen. So it's very easy to get misunderstood and misrepresented in the conversation. Who's Martin says, April, Chirpa, they probably don't want to hear your thoughts, not to be mean. Live your life without explaining to people you call ignorant. I mean, I never think that it's ever a good thing to call people ignorant. I mean, it just when someone is told that they're being ignorant, it's just automatically a wall goes up.
Yeah,
I mean, if I was told, oh, you're just ignorant,
right,
a wall goes up. It's like, okay, I have to not engage,
right,
because they think I'm ignorant,
right.
So she said, it says there's GW hate vids up. Derek's probably monitoring. Magic Gal
Magic Al, you guys are a beautiful soul. Thank you, Magic Al.
in April.
You hear me all the time. I suggest I do not tell.
Yeah, well, Mark has a more of a direct type lived experience as a 38-year veteran lesbian, and then as a transition person since 2003, and seeing all these friends and people falling sick, dying left and right. Last year was particularly difficult. One time when your friend Bishop, who you had been
Very
friends
close to,
with
yeah.
and close to,
Fell in the middle of a
trans man
stage.
died.
Fell in the middle of a stage, a trance event. Got into a coma. Never came out of the coma. Died. And I'm very passionate about how I feel. And I won't apologize for my feelings and for the way I feel and think. Didn't mean to hurt you if your feelings got hurt with anything that I've said, but I have to say it as I feel it, and it may come off a little bit as tough love, but it's all in good faith and all in a loving space.
And trust me, okay, I cringe sometimes with some of the things that Mark says because I still struggle with the very things that he's talking about. I find myself, oh, yeah, do we have to keep going on with this? I mean, the whole transgender hormone thing, I'm like still taking hormones. So I hear, oh, don't take them. Mark's taking Suma. He's not on hormones anymore, but I'm still taking them. So, I mean, it's like, I don't know what to do with it. It's like every time I feel like I'm the one that, oh, by the way, trans women, cancer, people dying, blah, blah, blah. By the way, Lena, I mean, you might as well just say my name, So I'm on this journey and I don't, I don't want to like mix things up and try to cover things over to say that I'm like, fully on board with Mark says things because I'm not, we always have, differences with that regard because, I mean, he's very much, of an opinion that he absolutely defends and campaigns for and fights for, So for me, it's not the same. So I deal with it and I cringe sometimes, but we're still together. We love each other, and we're here for each other. So Rex says, yes, April, it's odd. People saying things to get us to change or whatever in a negative way, and most of the time, their lives are a mess. It's like they're projecting their problems onto us.
And yes, Rex, solitude is a beautiful thing to me, says Rex. And who Martin says?
You both know I'm straight up honest. Mark doesn't always agree with me, I'm sure, but I'm respectful. Mark agrees with a lot of things that you have to say, Martin. I mean, I don't think there's anything that you don't agree with. Rex says, I get so much here. The love in this chat and this show is amazing.
Thank you, Rex. Grooming Minds is the name of the game played. Hey, Phoenix.
Phoenix. I just watch and keep my uniqueness to myself. Much love. Phil Pill.
Mark and Lena make me feel like the journey is what it's all about. It is. It is. And we all may be in a different, area. Like, do I want Lena on hormones? No, because I worry. She's my spouse. I want her to live a long, healthy life. Her father died of colon cancer. Do I cringe every time she takes that stuff? Yes, because I know the effects. But I can't force her not to. It's got to come by her own awakening, her own sense of loving self, to realize, okay, I can't force that, but I will continue to educate. I will continue to speak my heart. Because when I speak from my heart. And sometimes my heart can be tough love to a lot of people, but you always know that it's truth and it's coming from a good place.
I feel, though, that Mark feel, he says this, and he means it. But what I think he fails to kind of like consider is the fact that no one gave him shit from the time 2003 to now. So why do you have to project it on me?
What do you mean no one gave me shit?
No one gave you shit about taking hormones. I mean, you had a wife who was like absolutely on board with your transition. I mean, you were like 100% all go, all in, and campaigning and transition and blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
but it's like ever since we've been together, I only transitioned a year before I met you, and it's always been like you shouldn't take hormones, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. And it's like, it's like people need to self-evolve.
No, I understand
that,
I
mean, no one gave you any grief.
You don't know that.
No, but
you don't
no
know
one
that.
gave you grief.
You don't know
Mark.
that. My mom was giving me grief.
Well,
people around me were
course,
giving me grief.
That's one thing.
Violet worried about me and my blood pressure, how high it was.
I understand, but what I'm saying is that ever since we've been together, it's always been like this controversy of the hormones, and it's like, well, I'm going to take them until it's time to not take them anymore.
That's,
But, I mean, see, that's the realities of who we are.
Yeah. So, excuse my altering the energy, but the culture thing is so ignored. It would take 45 minutes to describe my position to anyone who cared.
See where you're coming from, April, is that place of negativity where if you were just to have said, excuse my altering of the energy, but the culture thing is so ignored, it would take 45 minutes to describe my position. But then you add the little stinger to anyone who cared, as if we don't care, as if people here in this loving chat room don't care, and we do care. That's the thing, So, Who's Martin says, hey, Mark and Lena, I want a show about the LGBTQP soon. Make it happen. I want to see that passion from you both. Oh, yeah, when it comes to that pedophile thing, yeah, that's really frustrating.
No hard feelings, all hugs and kisses to you and loved ones. Low LK, what did LK say? Oh, it says, Rex Clark, you're amazing too. Hit me up on Discord. You want April? And Rex says, working on a lot, but getting better every day and learning to relax and enjoy life and people.
Yeah, the fact that Mark isn't afraid, Phil says, to deny his past as a lesbian is awesome. Most people these days would sue you for such things.
Yeah. Because I'm all, you see what you get, and I know not everyone is where I'm at, and it's lonely at times because it's like watching people fall off a cliff and not being able to help them fall from the cliff. It's not a good position to be in.
Who's Martin says, do you want any trans people with opinions against you on your show? I will DM some for you.
No, we've had that. I mean, I used to interview.
That would be interesting, actually.
I've interviewed trans people from all over the world when I had transition radio TV and on gay like television, and that's what I did for the longest time when I waved the pro flag,
April says,
I've lost many as well, and that's incredibly sad, but I have my passionate side too. You did not offend me. It was a couple of statements made by commenters. I will adjust. Oh, okay. So I'm glad it wasn't me. Because I think, you know the way I feel and think. I mean, you've had us on your radio show, and I pretty much,
Who's Martin says, plenty of them out there who want attention.
Oh, gosh, I'm sorry, but that is the trans way, the attention, devil's advocate, as she said.
Phil says, I love the cringe moments.
Well, you're going to get realness here, that's for sure, and
real talk.
Real talk, yeah.
Real reality of a couple married who have a trans history and still deal with trans issues.
Yeah.
So that's why you guys are a perfect match, Magic says.
April says, thanks for the positive feedback. My relations, and I will always love all my relations. Peace.
Balance each other.
Yeah, I meant when I comment on Facebook, my opinion may differ slightly with Mark's, but we agree 100% of the trans community. Totally, brother. I appreciate you. I could vent with you, thankfully.
Oh, Martin, I'm still waiting for your email or
your
whatever.
question. You had a question for Lena yesterday.
I had a question. I don't know what. what it was. April. Hugs to April.
We love you,
Love
April.
you.
Actually, April, I think you're pretty down to earth compared to other trans women, and I enjoy the conversations and the email interaction. I appreciate the fact that you're in touch with your two-spirit side. And, I think that's something that's very important for trans people to learn how to do, is to learn how to accept that side that they're running from. Because they would be much happier. I mean, I don't understand this imbalance. Does it make anybody any happier? It's like hitting yourself with a hammer and you're going, God, that hurts. It really hurts. Well, it's like, stop hitting yourself with a hammer. And I know it's easier said than done, but it's really easier.
Cringe moment. Please read my comments, Mark. You have a good heart and lots of passion, but so do I. And a couple of comments, open it up for a couple of minutes. You did not offend me, Mark.
Okay.
Is Mark still on hormones?
Nope. I
No.
stopped January 19th. Not doing it anymore. This is my gosh, like fourth time stopping. My blood pressure, my bones start to hurt, too much ligaments. Female bodies aren't meant to take that amount of testosterone for the long period of times. I've lost a lot of friends. I read the research. I know it's not good for us. It's not good for anybody. Yeah, and she's hearing that, but it's the truth. Huh?
Cringe moment.
Well, but truth is truth.
I know, but
Yeah.
it's like, how many times do you have to use the same word
Well, I was
and
asked.
say it over and over?
I was asked, was I on hormone?
I know, but you're
And I'm gonna-
acknowledging my
Yeah.
cringe moment, and you're like, and why are you? And it's like, because it's a cringe moment.
Yeah.
So I had to edit the comment, as you said. The convenience of the comment section sucks. The whole comment was missing, Lena.
Yeah, because it only allows you X amount of, like, do you have 200 characters or something like that? No soma fill.
Suma root.
Yeah, suma root.
Suma,
It's
S-U-M-A.
it's a Brazilian herb,
Adaptogen.
adaptogen that helps with cancer. It helps normalize your hormones. I don't have any ovaries, so
And it's not just for FTM.
anybody
it's
can
for
take
anybody.
it. Anybody
It's
can take
actually
it. It gives you
good for you.
Yeah, it allows your body to. Since I have no ovaries, so I used to take maca root at one point, but suma, I find that it works well. It gives me stamina. It allows me to still have a sex drive, because when I stop taking tea, I lose my sex drive completely. So I take the suma. It brings circulation and allows me to have, just, it makes me feel good, and it's all natural. It comes from Brazil.
Magic. You guys are different, and that's good. Everyone has different paths that brought us here.
Totally. And Gail says, we are lonely here collectively.
We're all lonely here.
The lag is horrible. How bad is it?
I don't know. I haven't really looked because the comment section is so bloated out.
Yeah. Let's see what our speed test is.
Well, you're welcome to call.
Yeah. The number is 575 519 5930. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm just going to type it.
I don't know why we have such a bad connection.
Either.
It's like it starts off beautifully and then it just,
I don't know.
see, we're at 2.7 right now.
It's ridiculous.
I know.
And our download speed is ridiculously good.
Yeah, our download is 78.4, but our upload speed is
We
really.
have to figure this thing out.
Yeah, well, hopefully when you
I
get
don't know,
that.
is the router getting bad or something?
I don't know, maybe.
Because we bought a used one.
Well, maybe we have to reset or something. I don't know. Well, maybe with the Ethernet it'll be a lot better. Because
Maybe
it's
so.
Directly.
My question was basically about the Flappers Comedy Club in LA. Have you been there? I've got a set on May 13th. Want to know how the club is? It was random. Haha.
Never been.
Yeah, I've never been either. And yeah, California has been elusive to me since
Yeah.
the 90s. So
Yeah.
I don't know. How many little friends in a box, but thinking out of it?
How many little friends in a box, but thinking out of it? How many little friends in a box, but thinking out of it? I'm not quite sure what that means.
I'm not sure. Phones are great, but I will never call Black Cat. Dislikes have to have stayed the same though, so there's that.
At least, yeah, we got 50 thumbs up. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
I
awesome.
have a phobia of phones. I always like. I don't know why this.
Yeah, we're at 3.0.
Reset your stream if you have time.
Reset your stream.
Can you
there we
reset
go.
it?
I'm not quite sure.
Or maybe just
Call
turn
from.
into-
Hi guys, I'm
Hey,
Oh,
there you
okay.
go, Phil.
Awesome. Hi.
What's going on here?
Hello.
Yeah, you need to
Hello?
turn down your.
Oh, okay.
You need to turn down your.
Yeah.
Phil, turn down
if you
your.
could turn down your
oh
volume.
my god.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. This
It's okay.
is super
It's okay.
confusing. 1 second.
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay, I'm gonna turn down my YouTube.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just like, or your volume, just.
Yeah, your volume. Yeah.
YouTube
Okay,
volume.
okay.
Yeah, because we're like,
Yeah, we-
Hello?
Yes.
hi.
So good to hear from you. Are you there?
Is this Lena? Is this Lena?
This is Lena and Mark's here. Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm so happy to talk to you guys.
Oh,
Awesome.
wow. This is great. This is great.
Can you hear?
Can I fix my phone, you guys? It's really not okay. Can I fix my phone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna try to fix my phone, and then I'll call you back.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Okay, I'm gonna call you back when I fix my phone.
Okay.
Because he had problems. Remember?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Sounds
right.
good. Okay, we'll see you
Talk
in a
to you
bit.
guys in like less than 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, Phil.
All right.
Okay.
All
Okay,
right.
bye-bye.
All right. So
20 dislikes again. I wonder who. Well,
we've got a set of
people, you know,
the
that
Christians like Lori and Alpha. And,
this is how they prove their love for us.
Mhm.
You know.
Because they believe we're leading people astray.
Yeah.
You know?
They think that we're leading people to hell or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
And they don't realize that they're hurting people themselves. That's
Totally.
the problem, you know.
Totally.
And it's painful. It's painful for
Very painful. I mean,
it's just as painful to watch this stream
I know.
turn
oh my
into
God.
this
It's
soup.
crazy. It's
It's
crazy.
like soup.
Yeah. So it's the same people yesterday. It's like
Bots and their mindless archon leaders. Hee hee.
could possibly be. Because I mean, we were only getting like 5 dislikes from yesterday on. They've been this 1920 since
I know.
we kicked out somebody by the name of Tina, who then became another name, and we're
Yeah.
like, weren't you Tina yesterday?
Oh no, I'm not
And,
Tina.
yeah, and then some Tyler guy, and then I don't know. It is what it is. I mean, I called the show Technical Difficulty because I took off.
Oh. That's
Yeah.
very appropriate.
Yeah, because that's, I'm trying to
I
change
don't
the
know why
picture.
the show looks so crappy.
I don't either. It's because since yesterday, either we're getting assaulted from something to block our. I don't know if somebody could actually do that. Block.
I don't know.
I don't know. We've got to probably. I don't know. I don't know what we got to do. But anyway, Buxton. Let's see. 20 likes. Anything else new? I don't want to go into the manifestation moment, which is the last thing until Phil calls back. But yeah, so we do deal with that that friction of Lena feels that because I transitioned in 2003 and I was able to live my transition, and then she feels like she wants to live her transition, but it's like it's like saying, well, you were able to do drugs for 25 years and nobody stopped you, so I've got to be able. It's like, well, yeah, I wish somebody would have kind of. When I did this back in 2003, there we go.
Call from.
Phil.
Hey, Phil. Are you there?
Hey, Mark. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Glad you called. I'm so glad to hear your voice.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting to be on your guys' show.
Oh, this
I
is
love your
so
show.
cool.
I love I love watching it. I love being a part of what you guys are doing. I love it.
Awesome.
And we love you. We love
Yeah.
having you.
Yeah, you've been on for a while with
Yeah.
us, I mean, it's really cool watching us just grow, I guess. I mean, I don't know what happened lately, but, we appreciate being able to reach more people.
So,
No, I think it's very, very cool what you guys are, what you guys are doing. To me, it's kind of weird because I don't identify as trans. I just identify as a gay guy. Yet, everything that happens on your channel, the things that you guys talk about, always strike me as very important and very worthwhile to be talked about. You understand?
yeah, totally. I mean, I think that it's important to bring topics out there that most people ignore or most people don't want to talk about. And sometimes we don't agree, Lynn and I, with many things, but I think it's important for people to hear both perspective. I was a proud lesbian from the time I was, 13 years old, and I started going out in clubs at 16 till I transitioned when I was 38 years old. So I've been in the LGBT community for a very long time, and I feel that I have a lot to say. And I think not everyone's going to agree with what I have to say, but I think it's important to have the ability to say it.
And Mark's a lot older than me too. He's 6 years older. So, I mean, in life, he's at a different place.
Right.
He's more contemplative, because, just age, differences and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the age difference is definitely something that jumps out to me, because when I was growing up as a gay guy in the middle of nowhere in the 90s, none of the things that we talk about now were anywhere near the consciousness. However, the things that ended up becoming the consciousness were things involving rights, were things that involving, if you're gay, if you're a lesbian, you cannot be fired, you cannot be discriminated against, and now it's turned around into this idea that if you're gay, it means that you're part of this alphabet soup, meaning that, nothing means you can be whatever you say you are. If you want to be an octopus, you can say you're an octopus.
Right.
And it just seems like this is a very foolish road to go down.
Exactly. A very dangerous route. Very dangerous route.
But I don't want to imply that, I'm anti-trans, because I'm not. I'm totally supportive of, trans rights and all. I do not support trans people being discriminated against. What I'm against is this idea that everything is just thrown into this blender of we're whatever we say we are, and we deserve the law to,
Yeah.
It's very complicated. I'm sorry.
It is. And I think, Lena is very much not, Lena is very respectful of women's rights. Lena is very respectful.
I'm very respectful of everyone's rights, Everyone has the right to be who they are, It doesn't change your sex necessarily, but, you can express your gender however you feel comfortable. But I really feel bad for gay guys and lesbian women, because they're being railroaded into this school of thought where, they have to conform with it. And it's like, no, I'm not trans. No, I'm just not gender non-conforming. I'm gay.
Right.
I'm lesbian.
Right.
Period.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And what I'm seeing, and it worries me, is that they're trying to eliminate gays and lesbians.
Yeah.
I mean, all the butch women are now trans, and all the, was it twink gay men are now trying to become women. And it's like, wait a minute, whoa, the LG worked very hard to get to where they are today, to have trans people come along and just want to derail all the work that has been done.
Exactly. I don't understand it.
Yeah, neither do I.
How did it get here?
It's called a very dark agenda that has taken over and has literally brainwashed people to believe certain ways. We don't want to. I don't want to hurt Lena. I don't want to hurt anyone. But
Well,
it's
not
like
hurting me.
It's
just,
like I
know.
see it. It's like, wow. It's like, just be you. You doesn't mean that you have to try to fit into this box. 'Cause that's the problem. I see that people are trying to fit nicely into the stereotype, into this box that doesn't need to be that way. And they're not going to be happy by trying to do that. Because that's what I see. It's like, I've yet to find a happy transgender person. Okay, they do everything that they do, and they're still miserable, and they're still suicidal, and they still have dysphoria. So I'm like, so what's the solution? Right?
Mark, that is the thing that is so mind-boggling to me. It's because I'm not transphobic. I want everybody to be happy.
Exactly.
And yet, when I want people to be happy, I'm told that I'm a fucking Nazi for wanting to be happy in a way that doesn't involve hormones and like surgeries and everything.
Exactly.
But it's like I can understand if that's what it takes. However, that's not the end all be all of this.
No. And it brings more disastrous outcomes. People get sick, people start losing their mind because the long-term use of the hormone that doesn't belong in your body will hurt you. But at the moment, I mean, it's like trying to talk to somebody who just doesn't want to hear it. And it's hard. It's very difficult to try to explain things to people because they're not there yet. And I wasn't there yet back in 2003. I was, waving the trans flag. But it took me years to realize where I am today.
Mark, you were one of the earliest avatars of transgenderism.
Yeah, I sure was.
How do you feel about that?
I feel pretty bad that I feel like responsible for Jazz Jennings where she is today, because I was the one that brought her to the limelight in 2020 with Barbara Walters. I feel responsible for a lot of trans guys for transitioning. And one of my friends who died last year, I feel responsible for his death because he admired me. So maybe that's why I'm so passionate about telling people, hey, this road is only going to lead to a dead end and you're going to get hurt. And it's hard. It's hard to really explain how I feel, but, I know that I can't live people's lives. I know that people have to go through their bruises and their bumps and fall down and do whatever it is for themselves to learn. Because I had to go through it. So.
That's not your fault, dude.
Yeah.
Let me just say, whatever role that you may have played in Jazz Jennings and whatever, that's not your fault.
Yeah. It's hard. It's like watching, the train wreck unfold, and it's like, God, I pushed that train forward. But, it is what it is. Everybody has their choices in life, and I could only do what I'm doing, which I'm trying to educate people. I'm trying to show the other side, because trans advocates only want to show the pretty side, but they never show the real side. The real side is that this doesn't eliminate gender dysphoria. This doesn't help anyone in the long term. They want to believe it does, that's on them, but I know that it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough.
Oh,
I understand when you were talking about being squeezed on the left and on the right.
Yeah.
That was really very, very telling, for what certain people have to go through. It's like you don't fit here, you don't fit there. I mean, where do you fit, in society?
Yeah.
It's fucking horrible. And the people on the right wing who say that, everyone wants to lump everyone into the same fucking crowd. But they don't understand that the people caught in the middle of it are experiencing this horribleness. They don't understand that you're experiencing people telling you, oh, you should have been born a girl. Oh, you should have been, you're trans, or whatever. It's like, they don't understand how damaging that is.
Very.
Just leave people alone.
Exactly. Most people would not have transitioned had this whole agenda not blown up the way that it did. Because most people wouldn't have had the balls to have done this. Many were married with kids and they would do what they did behind closed doors, but they would have never had the courage to go out and do what they've done.
I mean, there's a huge culture of cross-dressing men as it is. I mean, cross-dressing is a thing of the elite. That's what they do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And who cares? It's fine.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's absolutely fine. I don't understand why you have to be fucking smashed into this identity to be a reality nowadays.
Yeah. It makes absolutely no sense, but you have to have the eyes to see. You know, many are blind. You know, and it's based on a lot of trauma, a lot of hurt, a lot of childhood issues, a lot of self-hatred. You know, that's why in the beginning of the show, I started off with the self-hatred article, because the self-hatred leads people to do things that are very damaging to them, but they don't see it. You know? So.
Yeah, because everything is just a little trail of crumbs leading to your true self or something.
Yeah, exactly. And they don't realize that the true self doesn't take so much work. The true self doesn't take all these surgeries and hormones and get-ups to try to achieve the look that you think you need to achieve. That's not true self. That's a put-on, in my opinion. But,
it must be interesting for you as an elementary ed school teacher that you probably run into these situations with your school district and the kids and stuff. I mean, what's going on there?
Leave the kids alone. That's my philosophy. Leave them alone. They will be absolutely fine as long as you give them as long as you don't fucking interject your bullshit into their lives.
Exactly.
They will be fine.
That's very true, Phil. Totally true.
You need to protect them. You need to make sure that they're not being bullied. They're not being degraded by their daily lives in the classroom.
Yeah.
But overall, just leave them alone. If you're 6 years old, you do not have a gender identity. You are not a gay or a lesbian. Yeah. You're just a kid.
Exactly. You know, and I say, what is gender identity? It's a social construct. It's based on stereotypes. It's based on what articles of clothing you want to wear. It's based on beauty. It's all physical. You know, it's like people need to learn who they are inside, never mind what you're trying to portray outside of you. And that to me is what's important. You know? And people need to like really awaken to that fact that most people don't know who they are. They're trying to be something television's telling you to be. They're trying to be something that the internet is telling them to be. And they don't even know who they are, what they really like. They're just follow the leader. They're just copying.
And imagine if you take all that and you transfer it to a kid who's 5 years old. It's absurd.
It is, totally.
It is. It really is. And that's one of the reasons that I even started saying anything back in 2015 when I watched this NBC special talking about the transitioning of this 5-year-old kid, you know, who was born a girl, and all of a sudden the parents want to take their kid to school and call him a boy just because the mom probably just wants a girl. I mean, a boy,
Yeah.
you know? And it's like, you know, the kid doesn't really know, and they make it seem like it's on them, but it's not. It's like Munchausen moms, you know? And that's what happened with Jaren, with Jazz, you know? This mother, if you were to watch the episodes, the last two that they've been showing on TLC, you will see that this mother is all about her and all she has done throughout the history of this child's life and this family is just ramrod, railroad everybody into doing what she wants. And what she wanted was for her child to be the poster child of transgenderism. And that is really pathetic.
Yeah, and she used me because I was in the limelight, you know, and it's like she got exactly what she wanted, you know, exactly what she wanted. But, c'est la vie.
I mean, okay, I have to be honest here. I am not transgender. I'm a gay male. And I cannot possibly understand what it would be like to grow up as a transgender child, even though I will acknowledge that transgender children do exist. My issue is the fact that you don't need an adult to tell you you're this, you're that. This is what you have to grow up to be. That's what I'm against.
Right.
I'm not against the fact that you can grow up to be a transgender child.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. But, you know, my question is, this word transgender, you know, it's pretty relatively a new word. What is that? You know, we create labels for everything in this world. And what is, I mean, if you really break it down, what is transgender? Like a person that's not happy with the body that they were born as? Well, there's a lot of people that aren't happy with the body that they're born as, whatever characteristics it may be, you know, but we're finding excuses and more labels to give more medications and more medical procedures so the medical community can make more money out of us.
And this is where I feel cringing coming on, because Mark says things in such a matter-of-fact point of view reference that is only skewed in his direction without taking into consideration the individuality of each person.
What am I saying? Like with this transgender thing, how long has this universe or this world been? Has there ever been, except for the past 100 years, if that, any body that there's no medical journals that have dictated that children felt like they were born in the wrong body? You know, this is all, I mean, what I'm speaking is not something that I'm pulling out of my, you know, I'm a medical professional, and I've done research, and I know that there isn't, this is just some thing that has been pushed, like they would do lobotomies on people, you know, like they've started removing women's hysterectomy because they had hysteria. This is all a byproduct of the medical community. It doesn't mean that, you know, you can't express as you wish. You know, I mean, I don't understand why I can't say reality. And that's the problem with this trans community, that you can't speak truth because they're going to get triggered, they're going to cringe, they're going to whatever. I mean, people need to be able to have real discussions. Your thoughts, Phil?
No, I don't know what to say. I mean, I think I'm caught between both of you guys.
Right.
I feel that number one, it's something that's extremely sensitive because we don't know anything about this. This is the first time in human history that this is a thing.
Yep.
That's a big fucking flashing red light.
Exactly.
You know? But number two, I also believe that you can be born transgender. That's where I'm at.
Right. Well, there are people that are intersex, okay, and they're born, you know, they have some sort of chromosomal anomaly, but that doesn't mean that you're born in the wrong body. You know, that doesn't mean that your brain and your genitals don't match. That's just a very trans agenda type of verbiage. You know, I have a girl brain and a boy's body, or vice versa. I mean, there's no objective finding to none of that.
I hear what he's saying.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I do. I hear
Yeah.
exactly what he's saying, but I think Mark's coming from a very um, analytical side of
Right.
understanding, and not as much of a organic side of understanding. I'm not saying that he's not being genuine. I'm just saying that he's speaking out of his mental, his medical experience, his own history as, you know, a lesbian that transitioned to be a really convincing trans man. You know, and it's crazy because these are issues that, like you said, are very personal. They're very, I mean, I know I can't speak for other people. Honestly, I can't. All I know is that this issue for me has caused a lot of destruction to many people that loved me. And I would not go down this rabbit hole if I didn't feel that I needed to in my life to take this turn, you know. And I'm not saying that I will ever be a woman, obviously never will, but, you know, I do also understand that, you know, these are issues that have plagued me since I was a child. These are issues that I feel are very, very much at the core of me. So I can understand what Mark's talking about, you know, but I just don't resonate with the entire subjective, objective argument, because I don't think that, you know, gender identity and the issues of gender are really measured by subjectivity or objectivity. I think they just are, period. You know, a matter of being, you know, so I don't know. But April commented and said, I totally agree with you on this point, Lynn. I think this Mark's big heart as a protector is getting ahead of logic, but that's just my opinion. And then Steppen, yeah, is asking dumb things. April says,
Decipher on this guy. I'm starting to think thread agenda is to wait till we are
the real agenda.
Yeah, is to wait till we are disposed of after some more experimentation. The real focus is on the next generation. Yeah, just, you know, frankly.
Here, okay, you guys, Mark, Lena, here's the thing that I hear everything that you're saying, you know, but I wonder. And okay, I don't want to be an asshole because I know I've heard your podcast. You guys are on the cutting edge of the people who are cutting against this crap. However, what is the ultimate difference between somebody who is a trans woman or a trans man and a woman and a man? Can you acknowledge that there is a difference between the two things?
Of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, socialization in itself is a huge one. I mean, there are so many, like, the older trans women, I hear them talking about, oh, I was in a women's group and they were talking about, you know, having their periods.
Lena,
I'm
sorry to interrupt you, Lena.
Go ahead.
But so then wouldn't the goal be to try to make the idea that trans men and trans women are a part of society? Why insist that they're this biological thing?
Exactly, and that's a big beef with me with trans. I mean, even when I was waving the flag, I used to fight with trans women. They didn't want to be called trans women; they wanted to be called women. I said, "I'm sorry, but you're trans. You know, if you were born the opposite gender that other title does not apply to you. You're trans at best, but they don't want to hear that.
And that's okay.
Yeah, I know.
It's not bad to be trans.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a part of society.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's ridiculous that people would have to like, okay, I'm not just transitioning, I've already arrived and now I am a woman.
And they're not.
It's like, no.
That's disrespect.
You can't be.
There's
Never
disrespect.
can be.
Yeah.
You can be a trans woman. You can be a trans man.
Exactly.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And I don't know. I think people just really, really need to understand, and society needs to just kind of like stop the stereotyping.
That's what I was.
Everybody
the
is
article.
going to be on a different spectrum.
That's the article. That's why I thought it was very
but
important.
the article was very much stereotyping. Although it wasn't stereotyping, it was still stereotyping.
No, but it's the whole concept that people want to fit into a stereotype, and it's not enough just saying, okay, I want to alter myself to be myself or whatever. It's like people want, not only do trans women want to be women, but they want to compete against women and beat them. There's just
that's wrong.
There's
That's wrong.
a lot of things that are just totally wrong.
That's wrong.
My goal, my utopia would be for people to accept who they are, not have to take dangerous hormones, not to have to do dangerous surgeries, and just live. And live, and everyone accept and honor people, like everyone accept and honor you, Phil, for the gay man that you are, to see your heart, to acknowledge your struggles, because people don't realize we struggled a lot, especially back in the day. I'm 54 years old. When I was 16 and in high school, it was not okay to be gay or a lesbian. Okay, it was like bad thing back then.
You are an elder, Mark. Mark, you are a fucking elder.
Yeah.
We love you.
Thank you. I've been like
Seriously.
a pioneer, for the longest time, and it's like, so now I see all these people taking everything for granted, and it's like, wait a minute, you have no clue what we had to do back in the day. Well, Phil, thank you so much for calling. It's like it's 8:52.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
We've like really, but you
It was great. I'm so happy I got to talk to you guys.
Thank you for calling. It's nice hearing your voice.
Awesome to hear you.
Very awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah. Don't be a stranger. When we have another, next time, call again and talk a little bit more, whatever other topics or other things. We enjoy the interaction.
Or consider being a guest on our show too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots of things we can talk
All
about.
right. Lena, I love you. You are so sweet. You're adorable, and I love hearing your voice talking to me when I type in bullshit into Google. I love it.
We love you
too,
We love you, Phil. All right. Have a good night, Phil.
You too.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Take care. Well, that was Phil. It was nice putting the voice with the words.
Yeah,
In the face.
that was
That's
cool.
Awesome. Very cool.
That was really
Guys,
cool.
time has flown by. It's 8:53. I don't even know if I have time for the manifestation meditation moment. I don't know.
So April says, I can approximate, imitate, but please never assume I want to imitate, and that's good,
Yeah.
but even beyond approximation is just this matter of just being,
Yeah.
because imitate is obviously something that lots of trans women aspire to, and some actually buy into the logic that they can actually become.
Right. Now, can I say something? I mean, my heart lies in having people, not run around with such self-hatred. Because you see a lot of people that dire need that if they don't do this, they're going to commit suicide. That they hate their dead name. That they hate. I mean, all that hate, that ain't good for you. That ain't good for anybody. I mean, it's not. It's like going against everything that's pure of what we are as spiritual beings, as the spiritual awakening and growth that we're trying to do. So, I mean, I have no problem with people
Bye, Suze.
wanting
Thank you for
to.
being with us.
Thank you.
As long as you were.
I know this has gone on forever. It's
Never-ending
important
show.
for people to love who they are, no matter what. That's important. That's vital. This self-loathing and self-hating helps no one. You know, and that I think that's where my whole mission is to get people to love themselves, you know, and make peace with themselves. Because what's the alternative? Constantly waking up depressed because you hate who you are? You think a fairy godmother is going to come and change who you are? I mean, no matter what you do to yourself, you can't run from yourself. So learn to love yourself. That's my message. That's why, you know, every end of the show, and I've been saying this, I love you, but remember to love yourselves too. That is so critical. All right, so I'm going to skip the manifestation.
Yeah, it's a little long.
Yeah.
The show's gone
Yeah, a little too long. So sorry, guys, no manifestation moment for today. I think you guys got then some. And
for a show that had no wings.
That had no wings. We added the wing.
Far.
Yeah, it did. So thank you guys. Thank you, Phoenix. Thank you, April. Everyone, Phil, Rex. You can't run away from yourself.
Bob Marley, you can't run away from yourself running, and you are running, but you can't run away from yourself.
That's right. You can't. And, you know, that's the name of the game. Learn to love yourselves. Learn to accept who you are. You know, who you are is an amazing human being. You may be different. You may be odd. You may be whatever. But just be you. Made it in time. We're done. We've been rambling here for hours.
God.
Travel, thank you. Yes.
Thank you for liking.
Yes.
We had 55 likes and 20 dislikes. So
we know who those 20 are. I mean, it's crazy. Sorry I missed the live. Just wanted to say hello.
Love this show. When's the next one?
Today's Friday, so Monday. Monday will be the next one. We're going to take the weekend off. Tomorrow we're heading out to
Mira.
Tucson.
Hi, Mira.
Hey, Mira.
Our wonderful Canadian friend, Mira.
Yes. So we'll be back, Rex, on Monday. So
everywhere you go, there you are.
Yeah.
So love it.
Yeah, I have a new series that it's called Healing. What did I call it? Healing Yourself with Mark or something like that.
Thanks, Rex. We're gonna enjoy our meal.
So I'll probably be on tomorrow while she gets ready to go out to do my little Healing with Mark Angelo, which is my new series that I try to, you know, help people heal all sorts of different things and recoding themselves, recoding their cells so that they could reach optimal levels. So I'm going to try to do that pretty much every morning if I can, probably just like a 30-minute, 40-minute session. But Real Talk with the Cummings will be back on Monday, same time, same station. And sorry, you guys, for not being able to have Wayne. He's not used to hang out and something happened. So I'll see what we could do if we could actually reschedule. Hopefully. He's not.
Hope Wayne didn't get turned
off. I know.
I mean, it wasn't our fault.
No, I know. We were on and everything was working on our end, but, you know, he's not used to the hangouts. So I got to write him an email, or maybe you write him an email. All right, guys.
Summer.
So I'm going to end it with a song. Let me see if I can make this a little better. I don't know, maybe for the song, because it looked like it kind of improved a bit.
Cleaned itself up.
So we should be getting an Ethernet cable by Tuesday, so hopefully we won't have... there we go. We're back to normal again. Go figure. All right, guys. We love you. But remember to always love yourselves, too. Thank you all. Thank you, Phil, for calling in. Enjoyed it.
Love you, Phil. Thank you so much for calling in. Love you so
much. And let me go here. Where is it? Here's a song. And good night. Have a great weekend, folks. I gotta do this. Is that on?
I don't know.
Turn
if
it
it
on.
Hesitates, yeah. It's still light.
Okay. There we go. Okay.
We go through life wanting memories. Some of them bright, somewhere in between. Just look within, find you tonight. Don't worry, dear, it will all be alright. Addiction, addiction, we got too many addictions. Addictions, you're addicted to your man, and you're addicted to your girl. You're addicted to your woman. It's all down on the floor. Addictions, 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 addictions. Let's everybody rock and roll, rock and roll. Rock and roll, yeah. Look at yourself, what do you see? A falling down, filled with disease. It's more than one, but it's on knees. Let's analyze this whole darn thing. Addiction, addictions. We have so many addictions. And you're addicted to the man, and she's addicted to the girl, and you're addicted to the woman. It's all down on the floor. Addiction, addiction. That's everybody. Rock and roll. Oh, that's rock and roll. Just look at her walking down the street. Her eyes are red and clearly she's in need of her next fix. Oh, will it be to help her out and fill her every need? Addiction, addictions. Addictions. We have so many addictions. Well, you're addicted to your man, and she's addicted to the girl. You're addicted to the woman. That's all down on the floor. Addictions, addictions, addictions. Let's everybody. Oh, I can roll. Oh, it's rock and rollin'. But it's rock and rollin', rollin', rock and rollin'. Addictions, addiction. Hey, everybody, that's rock and rollin', rollin', oh yeah, addiction, oh addiction, addiction. Let's everybody rock and roll, rock and roll, rock and roll, oh rock and roll, addiction.